What's up, people? Yeah, back again with another live video. I just found out that David Benavidez, he knocked out Anthony Durrell. Kudos to David Benavidez. He said he was going to stop Durrell. He stopped him. I didn't really know what to make much of that fight, like I said before, because both guys were outboxers. So I never really seen Anthony Durrell being very effective on the inside, and I never seen David Benavidez. His strongest point is not inside fighting. So, you know, let me talk to you guys, man, more about boxing. So we're going to talk a little bit about Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. I do believe the knockdown made the difference on the scorecards where the judges scored it the way they did. Um, One judge had it an 8-4 fight, in which the knockdown was also factored in, so 116-111. And some people think it was way too wide. I can't really knock that judge because 8-4 is still not that wide, and it depends on what that judge was looking at. He would give Sean 4 rounds. He would give Errol 8 rounds. Right? It's a 12 rounder. So it depends on what that judge was looking at. Like I said, if you look at the CompuBox stats, Sean just fell short of 25% connect percentage. It was like 23.1. Like I said before, Sean needed to at least ace the 25% connect percentage to win the fight. And he fell short with that. Sean landed a lot of punches on Errol, but not clean punches. Errol was the guy with the cleaner punches. Was Sean more effective than Errol with his punches? Of course, because he was swarming Errol. And the thing with Sean is he overwhelmed you with punches. So he was able to turn the tables on Errol on the ropes. As the fight progressed and Sean got a little bit tired, he couldn't turn the tables like he wanted to. Now, to be fair, this is so fucking funny for me to say. Errol hit Sean with the kitchen sink, even to his balls. I mean, I saw some heavily leveraged lefts and rights to the balls of Sean. And that motherfucker kept coming. I mean, Errol did everything on Sean, and Sean kept coming. That motherfucker kept coming. And I listened to Errol. Sean was saying, you see, I got more. What do you think now about my skills? Are there more skills in there? And Errol was like, yeah. Errol actually acknowledged that Sean got skills. Errol actually acknowledged that Sean was a tougher fight than he expected. And it threw him off that Sean started to box at certain points in the fight and actually outbox Errol. According to punch stats, Errol threw just one more jab than Sean. And overall, he threw one more punch than Sean. They basically threw about the same number of punches in the fight. Now, a lot of you guys were saying to me, remember, y'all was saying, Sean punch output is falling through the last. That didn't happen in this fight, right? Okay, then. And Errol made the point that even though he dropped Sean, obviously Sean wasn't, it was a flash knockdown. It wasn't even a flash knockdown. It reminded me of Zab Judah versus Floyd Mayweather. But the difference was Floyd got knocked back with a balance shot. Sean got clocked like a motherfucker. And he literally, his legs were giving out under him. But he caught himself. The motherfucker recovers like a motherfucker. Okay? Sorry about all the cuss words, people. But that man's recovery is ridiculous. His recovery time is ridiculous. He got buzzed. A beautiful left hook. Short chopping left hook. That motherfucker recovered before his hand touched the canvas. And it just touched the canvas. He basically buckled and came back up. That's basically what happened to him. It reminded me of the Keith Thurman left hook. Remember when Keith Thurman hit him with a left hook? And Sean is open for that left hook because he doesn't bring his guard back up properly. So this is the second fight. If y'all want to know something, Sean always open for that left hook. Until he cleans up his fight, at least some point in the fight, you're going to catch him with a left hook. All right, so Sean needs to clean up that part of his game. He knew his guard was down while he got clocked. His defense was on point. But anyway, let's get back to what I was saying. So I think that knockdown was the decider in the fight for a lot of judges. Because I think they couldn't score the fight otherwise. It was like, what are we scoring? Because everything that Errol did, Sean had an answer for him. he would answer him back. And this is the first fight where you actually saw Errol on the ropes and Sean wailing away at Errol on the ropes. This is the first time you've seen Errol being backed up by a fighter. Backed up by a fighter. All right. And all you guys were saying, oh, Errol was going to be beating up Sean on the ropes and stuff. That shit didn't happen. Sean did the same thing Errol was doing. He had his defense. He had his guard. He protected his body while Errol was wailing away. Then he would pivot out and then start working Errol's body. Right? And the key here is y'all say Sean don't got no defense. He got defense. He got defense. He also can infight very well. You saw those headshots that Sean was landing on Errol, right? One of the things I got to say, Sean landed some pretty clean headshots. Some eye-catching headshots. You know what I'm saying? Clean. And I think that kind of tightened up the fight. But this was a pick'em fight. If you give some of those swing rounds to Sean, this fight ends up being a draw. Even though Errol buckled him in 11th and put him down. He didn't really put him down, you know that. But, I mean, his hand touched the canvas, so Jack Reese called it. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing he could do about that. And he could see Sean saying, let's go, motherfucker, let's go. And every time Errol looked like he was putting in some good work on Sean, Sean would turn the tables and answer him back. And with combinations, motherfucker. I told you he a counter combinational puncher. He a special kind of, you're not going to see that fighter every day. You're not going to see that fighter every day. He's special. He counters you with combinations. Manny Pacquiao do something like that too. He go in waves and counter in combinations. And again, Sean's athleticism, his boxing skill, his pivot work. I told y'all. You know, Abel said, this is probably the fight of the year, actually. I think this is a better fight than Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao. Because Pacquiao at least looked like he was in control of the fight and he dominated. Errol was the more composed fighter, in my opinion. Sean was the buzzsaw. I thought that Errol's defense was pretty good. He had some pretty good defense. He was getting clocked, though. But I thought at the end of the day, Sean was equal to the task of what Errol was doing. I think a lot of people are impressed with Sean. And then a lot of people realize, because Errol said he would go in there and knock out Sean Porter. Wasn't that what Errol said? Man down? Did he at any time look like he was going to knock out Sean Porter? Let's be honest. At any time, he did do some nice body work. I think in, what was the 8th round? I think he did some good body work. But then Sean would just turn the tables on him and land some really nice headshots and body shots. Head and body shots. And some of the body shots wasn't clean, but you know they was effective because Errol was backing the fuck up. And Sean caught him with liver shots. He caught him with spleen shots. He caught him with solar plexus shots up the middle. He caught him with spear jabs, not uppercuts. Spear jabs. That's a spear jab. That's not an uppercut. All right. He caught him with some spare jabs as well. He was just mixing it the fuck up. And Errol said he awkward as hell. He hit you with shots from all kinds of angles, and you just don't know what he's going to hit you with. You don't know when he's coming in. You don't know when he's going to hit you. What did I tell you guys? Did I call this? Did not call this? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I told you this is a pick'em fight. It still is a pick'em fight. It depends on how you score some of them swing rounds. And well, there were certain rounds that were clearly Sean Porter rounds, right? Certain rounds like round number 4 was clearly a Sean Porter round, right? Errol Spence obviously won that swing round. It would have been a swing round if he didn't knock down Sean Porter. In fact, round 11, Sean Porter was pretty much dominating that round until he got dropped. Think about it. Go watch the round again. It was a Sean Porter round. In fact, there are a number of rounds which were Sean Porter rounds, period. Now, there's some, you know, I got different topics, as you can notice right here. One of the topics, I already covered it, right? The first topic was, you know, the low blows, right? We talked about that. We talked about the knockdown, right? That was the second topic we're supposed to talk about. Let's talk about the media. The media be saying a lot of shit. And I just don't understand the media. You know, they say a lot of stupid ass things. Like, Errol, you was fighting Sean Porter's fight. How the fuck can an infighter be fighting another infighter's fight? That's wrong. Errol's an infighter. Sean Porter's an infighter. When two infighters come together, they're going to infight. So it's not like Errol was fighting Sean Porter's fight. I guess they wanted Errol to stick off the jab and stay on the outside only. That's not what he do. He's an infighter. He did a little bit of that against Mikey Garcia, But he's an infighter. That's what he do. That's how he break down fighters. He got to get close to break you down to the body. Errol explained that to them. And they're like, but you was fighting Sean Porter fight. If you had fight on there, this is another thing that I don't understand the fucking media, man. Sean Porter was never going to let him fight on the outside. The guy who chose to fight on the outside and dictated that was Sean Porter. Let me tell you why Sean Porter could fight on the outside against Errol, whereas Errol couldn't do it against Sean. For those of you who don't understand. It's boxing. It's boxing. And a lot of you guys just don't understand fucking boxing. Sean bobs, weaves, slips, skips, slides, bounces, dips. All right? A fighter like that, you're not going to hit him into the head like that. That's how he makes his way to the inside. Because of that, he can offset Errol's jab. He snaps back. He does all kinds of shit, right? His upper body movement, and then the fact that he can get low, like I was explaining to you guys, means Sean can get past a jab. Errol don't do all that shit. And he's a taller fighter. He does get low, but he doesn't do all that shit. So where Errol can't outbox on Sean if Sean wants to get to the inside, Sean can outbox Errol and stay on the outside. Why? Because he got quicker feet than Errol. He throws a very good jab. In fact, he was more accurate according to punch stats with his jab than Errol was. If Sean throw that jab, there's a high percentage chance he landed than Errol did with his jab. And remember, Sean is facing a southpaw. The other thing Sean gave Errol was a southpaw look. He turned southpaw on Errol a number of times in the fight. Did you guys see that? So Sean got a hell of a lot more skill than Errol does. But like I said, Errol does what he does very well. He has honed skills. Sean has a plethora of skills, but he doesn't have them all honed. He's now roping it in. Sean will only get better as he continues to progress with Kenny. Sean is extremely extremely widely skilled fighter. He has an array of skills, and you didn't see all of them on display against Errol. All right? They're not all honed. Some of them are all honed. Like, he has a really good jab. When it comes to jabbing, Sean is incredible. And he also has some beautiful lead punches with his right hand. You saw the lead right in operation in this fight as well as the jab. And because Sean is such a good jabber, and he also has a beautiful lead right hand, especially with his straight punches, Sean Porter could keep Errol at bay if he wanted to. Whereas Errol, it was harder and more challenging for him to keep Sean at bay. So even if Errol wanted to outbox Sean, Sean was going to make it to the inside. The problem with Sean is his inside game is not as accurate as it needs to be. Okay? So, that's the thing with Sean Porter. And again, unlike Errol, who will counter you with one punch or two punches, Sean counters you with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 punches. When he counters you, he's countering you in combinations. I think Manny Pacquiao does something like that. So you will back up because there's a barrage of firepower coming at you. All right, and Sean mixes it up from the body to the head. So Errol had an extremely difficult time handling that and adjusting to it. And even when he tried to pivot, Sean, because he's so quick with his feet, could pivot with him. So that it took more than just your regular boxing skill. Now, from what we learned, it wasn't a clash of heads that caused Errol's eye to get a cut. But I do believe Sean probably threw a punch, didn't hit Errol clean, and then part of his forearm probably hit Errol. It was a rough and rugged fight to some degree, but it was clean. It was a cleaner fight than people expect. Errol hit Sean with a whole bunch of low blows, especially early in the fight. I don't know if he was doing Amiga Kodo on Sean to see if he could get Sean out of the game. But Sean must have balls of steel because Sean just kept on coming. To me, that is fucking funny. Sean just kept on coming, man. I mean, nothing stopped Sean Porter. If Sean Porter wanted to come through at you, he coming. Right? Now, Sean was a little bit more fatigued later on in the fight, and that's credit to Errol's body punching, where he caught Sean with some pretty good body punches. Even though Sean did block most of those body punches, there was some serious leverage in it. Of course, he also hit him with some balls punches early on in the fight, and that would also affect the fighter. But you can see Sean was fresh all the way up to round 12. The knockdown happened because Sean was trading a hook with Errol, and Sean stayed in front of Errol a little too long. Errol needs you to stand in front of him. If you're a moving target, he can't do you shit. It's just what it is. But he got in some nice lead lefts. He got in some nice hooks. He got in some nice right hands on Sean. And he worked the body in certain rounds. He didn't get the opportunity very often to work Sean's body, but whenever he could, he got the opportunity. And at a certain point in time in the fight, he was wearing Sean down. He was. But then Sean would turn the tables on him and land some nasty headshots on him. And then he would go to the body too. And Sean was not as accurate as Errol going to the body. I would say that Sean had a handful of body punches that landed it clean. But again, the accumulation of body shots to the body on Errol. Errol's a tough motherfucker, don't get me wrong. But that also kept Errol was tired. Both of them at a certain point in time was holding each other. There was time when Sean was clinching Errol and trying to pull him down. And there was time when Errol was clinching Sean. But there was the fight was nonstop action. How many fights have you seen with that kind of action? Nonstop action. I remember Keith Thurman versus Sean Porter. Keith Thurman versus Robert Guerrero. Sean Porter. Most of the nonstop action fights with Sean Porter are action fights. Sean Porter versus Danny Garcia. Sean Porter versus Adrian Broner. You know, the action-packed fights. Sean Porter brings the action. You know, and win, lose, or draw, this man is incredible. All right, but I do see how this fight went to Errol Spence, and how people are saying the right man won because of the knockdown. I think the knockdown made a difference. Errol's body work, I thought, was more effective than Sean's body work, more consistent at least. But not more effective, sorry, more accurate. I think Sean was more effective overall in the fight than Errol was. I think Sean was the one dictating the fight more than Errol was. So it's like I said, it's a pick 'em fight. When you think about it, it's still a pick 'em fight. No matter how you look at it, it's a fight that could have ended up as being a draw, because I thought that it's possible that you could look at the fight in Sean's with activity based, and also the guy who was actually kind of controlling the fight, that would be Sean Porter. You know, Sean Porter was the one really. That's why the media is saying, you know, Errol fought Sean's fight. It's not an Errol fought Sean's fight. It's that Sean was kind of dictating how the fight would go down. You know, because when Sean decided to fight on the outside, you know, Errol couldn't stop him. When Sean decided to go to the inside, Errol couldn't stop him. You know what I mean? And so in that respect, I can see it that way. But if you're looking at it as Errol was trying to slowly break down Sean Porter, picking his shots, being the guy who was landing the cleaner shots in the fight, landing on Sean at sometimes. You know, Sean landed some clean shots to Errol's head, especially the head shots. They were clean. Clean, and very effective shots. Pushing Errol back. I mean, Errol, he felt them shots. And Errol said that he, you know, at no point in time did Sean hurt him, but I think he got buzzed a couple times and he literally locked up on Sean, which means Sean does punch with significant power, right? And so, and he said he felt the shots. And then the other thing with Sean is Sean will land. In fact, it was a round, I think it was either 11 or 12, one of them, I think it was 11, where they were teeing off on each other. And you could hear the commentators, they were like, ooh, 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 ooh. Commentators was losing their minds on that shit. You know what I'm saying? It was a good fight. I mean, it was a great fight. I think it's the fight of the year. It was the fight of the year. Again, Sean being the 8-1 underdog was an unfair betting. I think they thought Errol would get Sean out of there. That was never going to happen. Never, ever, 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 ever going to happen. I think if Sean's hand didn't touch the canvas, the judges would have been persuaded to have to make this a split decision draw or a draw somehow, majority decision draw or something, because that fight was going towards a draw. I favored a split decision win for Sean Porter, me personally. If that and were it, if there was no knockdown, I think the split decision win for Sean. I think the knockdown made it a draw. In my personal opinion, I think Sean won the majority of the rounds. I think Errol won less rounds than Sean. In my opinion, I think it's because I'm looking at Sean's activity. I knew what Sean brings to the table. I thought that Sean won the first round, for example, where they might have said it was a mute round. I thought that Sean dictated the first round with the jab. So it depends on how you look at the fight. If you think it was just a pick'em round, then you see that's where the problem lies. But you see, I look at what Sean could do. I know what Sean could do, whereas a lot of you guys don't. So some of you guys are going to swing in and say Sean was robbed because he just superseded your expectations, right? So you're going to blow it out of proportion. But it's not that Sean was robbed. Sean wasn't robbed. Of course not. This was a close fight. And I think the decider was the knockdown, which is what most judges would do it. But I know what Sean brings to the table. I know how effective Sean was in that fight. So certain swing rounds, I would have said to Sean. There's certain ones I give to Errol, but certain swing rounds I got to Sean. But this is one of them fights which is not controversial. I wouldn't say that at all, but it was a close fight. It was a close fight. Pacquiao versus Thurman was a close fight, but this fight was also a close fight. But I thought if Sean could have just hit 25%, his connect percentage overall 25%, he'd have commandingly won this fight. Knockdown or no knockdown, he clearly would have separated himself from Errol Spence, because just the quality of punches he lands, the way how he lands them, even if they're not flush, they look so spectacular. And then just the unique way in which he attacks his opponents. Errol calls him awkward, but I would say that he's skilled. That's how I put it. That's the way I would say it. But anyways, man, people, I'm gonna be back with you guys soon, talking more about this fight. I'm gonna go up on Hangouts. H Money, you gotta pay up, brother. I'm gonna call out your ass every single time in every single video. And when we come out in the Hangouts, I'm gonna call your ass out again, because you gotta pay up now, bro. You gotta pay up. D Styles. Knockout where, man? Knockout where? Oh, he was about to knock him out at the 11th round. Fuck no. Sean turned the tables on him, was landing on his ass. And in the 12th round, who landed the last punch? Okay then. Who was holding in the 12th? Okay then. Both of them was holding, actually. Hell of a fight, wasn't it? Nobody raised their hand at the end. Nobody raised their hand at the end of that fight. Both of them was tired as fuck. And then Sean started raising up the crowd like, yeah. All right, then, let's go. And Sean was still saying, let's go. Hell of a fight by these two fighters. And let me say, this is another thing. Media be saying some shit. They saying how Terrence Crawford fans be saying, even though that Terrence Crawford is a better fighter than listen. All right. Terrence Crawford, first of all, would have a hell of a difficult time with Sean Porter. I'm gonna tell you that one time. Ain't no way Terrence Crawford ain't. Listen. Y'all don't understand. Danny Garcia be jumping in the ring, challenging Errol Spence. Listen. Now, Danny Garcia is a bad motherfucker. He a bad motherfucker. All right? Especially the Danny Garcia that faced Adrian Granados. If Danny Garcia hit Errol Spence, it's not going to be like Sean Porter hitting him. Okay? Danny Garcia can crack. But Danny's slow as fuck. He got a little faster, but he's slow as fuck. So Errol Spence will have opportunities to hit Danny. Danny protects his body very well, so Errol Spence will find it a little bit more awkward and difficult to land body punches on Danny. But again, Danny has been hit with body punches and head punches and been beaten up like a motherfucker by Lamont Peterson. There's not any later rounds. Okay? So Errol will have his chances. I'm going to say this again categorically. Errol Spence ain't stopping Danny Garcia. He's not stopping Danny. Okay, Danny will walk down Errol Spence at certain points in the fight as well. Errol will have to box his ass. But having said that, having gone through the fight with Sean Porter, Errol's ready for any fucking welterweight in the welterweight division right now. Any. He ain't stopping no more of these elite fighters. But I think he can get the W in almost all of them. Okay? Let me you know. Terrence Crawford. I'm never gonna say Terrence Crawford gonna be his easiest fight. But by the time Errol faces Terrence Crawford after having the baptism that he's had so far, he'll beat him. He'll beat Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford ain't got that kind of testing. He not fighting these kinds of beasts. I'm going to ask you guys this simple question. Terrence Crawford versus Kell Brook. I'm hearing, first of all, that Kell Brook said he's still willing to face Terrence Crawford. So I don't know where this information came that Kell Brook was saying that he couldn't face Terrence Crawford because he couldn't make the weight anymore. I'm hearing Kell Brook talking about he in Dominic Ingles' gym, and he's talking about Errol Spence, Sean Porter winner, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Terrence Crawford. So which is it? Which information is coming from Kell Brook and which information is not? Is just being reported? Like who said that Kell Brook said that he couldn't face Terrence Crawford? Is this a lie? Because there's somebody circulating lies out there. Because apparently Kell Brook is looking at the welterweight division and facing guys in the welterweight. That's what he said with his mouth in an interview. That's what I heard him saying. So it's either Kell Brook is wanting to face welterweights in the welterweight division. We'll see what his next action shows on his next fight. Or and that the reports are lies about this dude. Or it is that this motherfucker be just posing. I don't know which one it is. But I tend to believe what Kell Brook is saying with his mouth and not no second party bullshit. Because I think that Kell Brook versus Terrence Crawford will be a good ass fight, whether his eyes are good or not. All right, that's a good ass fight. And I just don't think Terrence Crawford ready for none of these welterweights right now. He ain't ready for none of them. What they want to do is make a big fight with Terrence Crawford. Bob Arum want to rake in some dough, right? Errol Spence go mop up Terrence Crawford, probably beat his ass real bad, and Bob Arum make some money off of that fight. That's what the fuck I think is happening, because Bob Arum is not preparing Terrence Crawford for these beasts. It's not. Kavaliauskas don't fucking cut it. All right? Terrence Crawford needs to mix it in with a Danny Garcia or one of these motherfuckers out here. So one of these bad boys, because otherwise it's bullshit. You gonna fuck your own self over. Terrence Crawford cannot be facing this kind of shoeshine, soft-ass competition. He's not. These guys will eat his fucking ass alive. And y'all talking about skill and fuck that. When you go into these divisions with these kinds of hungry lions, we're talking Danny Garcia. Now we got Mikey Garcia in here. We got Mikey, Danny, Keith, Sean, fucking Kell, and fucking Errol Spence. Killers. You can't go in there, Dana killers, having eaten. Oh, you thought you was a killer in your pond. You know what I'm saying? But then when they throw you in with the real sharks, they be just eating your flesh. Oh, you a shark. You dominating your little area, and then you went into a pod of orcas. The orcas are going to kill your ass. You know what I'm saying? So all the talk about killer instinct of Terrence Crawford, why the motherfucker keep on re-signing with Bob Arum? Because he want to be protected. You want to stand and fall like a little punk and call out people having done nothing. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Terrence Crawford, but all I'm saying to you is, and Terrence Crawford, if you see this video, you need to tell Bob, Uncle Bob, I'm not facing no fucking Kavaliauskas. Get me a better fight. You got to get me a better fight, because these stay busy fights ain't doing shit for Terrence Crawford. It's not doing nothing. That's like Gervonta Davis. Hey, man, I like Gervonta. And by the way, Gervonta Davis, I hope Gervonta Davis don't feel like how about this shit. But what the fuck is Gervonta Davis doing, man? All right, the Gamboa fight, that's a better fight than the last couple of fights you had, bro. I mean, you just came out of a long kind of layoff shit, so you trying to keep the fork tuning. But I mean, I don't give a fuck about who attends your fights. I really don't. I want to see a fight that's worth my while to watch. I don't want to see you knock out bums. Errol Spence was knocking out the bum of the month club or making guys who were regular fighters look like bums. But when he stepped up in competition, Triple G was making them guys who was, he was stopping everybody, right? Until he stepped up in competition. Right? Lots of fighters look good against B level, C level, and D level opposition. What happened when you face A level? Oh, this guy's a killer. Oh, that guy's a killer. They only killers until they face another killer. Then they don't look like killers. Triple G looked like a killer until Danny Jacobs, who Sean Porter fought. Who we now see Sean Porter's a bigger dude than Errol Spence, right? Errol couldn't manhandle Sean Porter. He wanted to, but he couldn't. Neither could Sean Porter manhandle Errol, even though he did, and push his ass back and all kinds of shit, right? So my point being, this is the elite level of boxing, right? Don't think. I don't know what I told you guys buying some fucking hype. I said there's no way in fucking hell Errol was knocking out Sean Porter. No way. No way. And Floyd Mayweather attended the fight. I saw Floyd Mayweather up in there. A lot of great celebrities and everybody was up in that fight. It was a hell of a fight. I hope people support more Sean Porter's fights. The next fight Sean Porter has, he said he ready to face Terrence Crawford. He ready to face who's the other guy? Manny Pacquiao. Now Manny Pacquiao would be, Manny Pacquiao needs to. I saw Manny Pacquiao's president up in there with Errol Spence. Of course, Pacquiao fancies his chances against Errol Spence. Of course. I got Pacquiao beating Errol. I Pacquiao beating Errol. I'm gonna tell you why. If that fight is close at all, Pacquiao gonna get the decision. Whether or not he actually won the fight, he gonna get the decision. Just what it is. Errol might come out beating Pacquiao, but Pacquiao get the decision. And again, this is my point. A lot of people think that Errol is not what he is. Errol's the truth. Errol is the truth. You saw his pivot work in that fight. You saw his body work in that fight. You saw his sharpshooting in that fight. You saw his jab, and everything was on point. But Sean's also a great fighter. And I hope Sean gets his respect he deserves. Right? So Sean deserves that WBC championship. Now, the tougher fight for Pacquiao would be Sean Porter. I don't see Pacquiao winning against Sean. I'm sorry. But it'll be a great fight, though. You say, but you don't see Pacquiao win against Sean, but he win against Errol? Yeah. See, Errol don't have the quick feet like Sean. You need to have quick feet to deal with Pacquiao. Floyd got quick feet. Very, very quick feet. Remember, it's always in the footwork that the fight is won. And Sean got quick feet. So I got Sean over Pacquiao any day, anytime. Pacquiao is not an inside fighter. Sean is. Sean beats Pacquiao. I'm telling you that now. All right, that's one guy that beats Pacquiao. Danny Garcia probably doesn't beat him. Errol Spence probably doesn't beat him. Terrence Crawford probably doesn't beat Pacquiao. I know it sounds crazy that I'd say that. Mainly because, again, Pacquiao's so big in boxing, he gonna get the decision. Whether or not, once that fight is close, he gonna get the decision. So, but with Sean will convincingly beat Pacquiao. It'll be like the Jeff Horn fight, but better. It wouldn't be as ugly. Styles make fights. That's the guy that gets Pacquiao all the problems in the world and will beat Pacquiao. Sean Porter. Right? But if you ask me, Pacquiao better not pick the loser of Errol Spence versus Sean Porter. He should pick Errol Spence and beat Errol Spence. You know? And don't get me wrong, Pacquiao ain't dropping Errol Spence. Errol Spence is not going to get dropped by Pacquiao. But it'll be very competitive. And Pacquiao will take a beating of his life, though, in the later rounds. That's for certain. But he won't show it until at the end of the fight when his hand's raised. Like happened with Keith Thurman. But he could beat Errol Spence. I'd favor him to win. And again, no knock on Errol Spence, because Errol Spence could get the victory over that too. I'm pretty sure. He's versatile. So it's just that I favor Pacquiao to beat Errol Spence. And Errol Spence would feel like you kidding, right? Trust me, you underestimated Pacquiao. Errol, if you underestimated Sean, you realize that now. And you have a tendency to underestimate fighters. You're gonna underestimate Pacquiao and there's gonna be problems. You know. And Pacquiao small, but he's fast as fuck. You're gonna be looking for you was looking for Sean. Sean was all over the place, then he was all up in your chest. Pacquiao may not be as close to you, but he gonna be all over the place. Pacquiao go pew 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 pew. He go do 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 do. Pacquiao's fast, man. You know, and he's just tricky. And he's a southpaw like you, so he's gonna be tricky. But yeah, it's the thing with the smaller guys is they're so quick, and then to try and get a beat on them, is the problem. That's what happened. And then these high energy, high octane guys, you know, that's the thing with them. They're very explosive. So Sean, you know, Errol was saying the truth. He was like, Sean's a small guy, but he's not really a small guy. And then he said another thing. He said he's a small guy, but you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, before you could say boo, he's up on you. You know who Sean reminds me of? Aaron Pryor. A lot of people like I'll listen to them compare him to Joe Frazier. He's so much more skilled than Joe Frazier. He's so much more skilled than Mike Tyson. But he does do some Tyson-like moves. I mean, Sean does so much shit, man. You know, that's why I say he's more like Aaron Pryor. Aaron Pryor. To me, because he mixes up all these different styles. You know, he might get knocked down. He might get buzzed. Come back with more vengeance. You know, you saw what happened when he got knocked down in the 11. He came back at the end of the 11 and was doing his thing. And then in the 12th round, he really picked it up. And I thought he won the 12th. Some hard overhand rights and some hard shots to Errol Spence's head. I thought Sean took the 12th. But then again, what I'm saying is that, you know, he's a small guy, but he's not really small. It's the illusion that he's small. Even Errol said that Sean was the stronger fighter. Did you hear that? Did you hear Errol actually say that? Errol said, I had to take it to the stronger fighter. And that just shows you how strong Sean Porter really is, you know. But then we knew that because Sean was saying he was bench pressing 222 pounds. He beats strong, right? And Errol's realized that. Shout out to the people liking my video. And don't forget to smash the like button. You know what I'm saying? And you guys can chat away. Have fun. We're going to talk for a good while. and then I'm out to peace out. I was doing a little exercise this morning. Yeah, but you know, Sean Porter, man, man, Kenny Porter knew what he had a long time ago. I think a lot of people's calling him a football fighter, but no, man, Sean got a game plan for Kenny and Sean always have a game plan for these different guys. And Sean is he's got better defense. He's getting cleaner in his body punching and in his overall work. And no headbutts in this fight. No headbutts in this fight. In fact, the dirtier fighter was Errol Spence. If you want to call it dirty. He wasn't dirty. Errol's just trying to dig to the body, but he was straying a little bit low on Sean. It is what it is. It's a fight. I ain't mad at it. Sean ain't mad at it. But when Kenny complained to the referee said, well, Sean got his trunks too high up. The ref did lay out the rules though, so it is what it is. But at the end of the day, man, he was hitting Sean in the cup, and we could see it. But it's a fight, man. It's what's so funny though? I've seen this before with Marcus. I told you it's like a Marcus Maidana fight in a way, but except the roles were kind of flipped a little bit. But I remember, I don't know if it was the second or third round. Sean got hit in the cup, and you see Sean look at the ref like, "Hey, ref, what's this? What?" You actually see him in agony, and he just kept on fighting, man. That motherfucker kept on fighting, and I was like, "Damn!" I remember when Zab Judah got hit in the cup. That took Zab Judah out of the game. He was beating Mito Cotto's ass, and it took Zab out the game. You understand what I'm saying? Cotto was able to maul him and beat him up in the end. Not Sean Porter, motherfuckers. Not Sean. You could hit Sean in the nuts. Sean gonna keep fucking fighting. That's how bad Sean Porter is. He's a bad motherfucker. Y'all don't get it, man. I got a lot of praise for Sean because a lot of people got praise for Sean, but I already knew this was what Sean was gonna do. But here's the thing, though. As I was saying, I think that Errol Spence is a fucking hell of a fighter, man. Did you see how this motherfucker was, how he was getting in those body shots in between the punches that Sean was throwing? Some beautiful straight lefts to the body and some left hooks to the body. Beautiful. And some left-right combinations. In between that, I don't even think the commentators picked up. On the pivot, by the way, which was beautiful stuff. He caught Sean on the pivot. Sean was pivoting himself, and he could lean in on the pivot on Sean. You could see Sean breaking for the shot after he got hit, because you could see Sean anticipated, but it's the power in them shots, man. And Sean rolled off some of the shots, but still, they were beautiful shots by Errol Spence. Picture perfect. You couldn't get it better than that. And he hit Sean with his best punches, and that motherfucker kept coming. Woo! I loved it. I loved it, man. That motherfucker kept coming, boy. Yeah. I mean, I told you the most well-conditioned fighter in boxing right now is Sean Porter. I told y'all that. I told y'all that, I keep on coming back to this point because it's not just that Sean Porter got heart. That motherfucker is so well conditioned for the task at hand. Sean can't keep this up forever. His career is a short career, so that's why he's trying to get all the names he can. Because Sean Porter got about maybe 10 more fights left. But when he's done, he have a Hall of Fame, all-time great resume. And you can always dispute whether he won or lost certain fights. You could always say, but of course, Sean Porter's talking about a rematch. Of course, when you have a close fight, you want to run it back again. Floyd Mayweather usually did that, except with Oscar De La Hoya, right? In which case, I didn't think that was a close fight. But hey, whatever. He should have run it back again. And he was trying to run it back again with Oscar at welterweight, but it fell through. I think he retired or something like that. So, anyways, my point is that you definitely know for a fact that was a close fight. right? Sean was doing what Sean wanted her to do. Errol was trying to make adjustments to what Sean was doing. Sean was the one dictating the fight. That's why this fight wasn't, Errol generally dictates fights. But in this case, Sean was the guy with the more experience. Beefing Boss, shout out to you. Let's go check. Who is Beefing Boss, by the way? Is that same Tommy Tampa? Is that you? Yeah. Shout out to each and every one of you guys, man. And yeah, so I was just saying that I thought that Errol did some great work. So when you guys are talking about, Errol Spence, message retracted. Beef and Boss just retracted message. Who is that though? That's a black girl right there. Interesting. I don't know what to make of that. Is Beef and Boss? Are you Tommy Tampa? Beef and Boss? That looked like Tommy Tampa's reply. That's probably Tommy Tampa. But if not, then whatever. Shout out to each and every one of you guys, man. I was just saying that that's Tommy Tampa right here. You sure you're not Tommy Tampa? But that's the way how you react. Let's go, champ. You could have two accounts. I feel as you. Anyways, man. Maybe not. If Beef and Boss responds, then that's my troll account. I knew it. What's up, Tommy? Yeah, Errol, let me tell you guys this, man. Errol showed me a number of things. One, he's tough, right? He's tough. Two, he showed me that he keeps his composure. I like how he keeps his composure, under the firepower. And that's how he was able to get the knockdown. You know what I'm saying? He was able to get the knockdown. Three, he showed me his boxing defense and boxing skills. Right? He stayed in the pocket. He did get hit with a number of shots, but he also kept his composure. Because Sean wasn't hitting him clean. Well, there's certain shots he got hit with clean, period. How did I score the fight? All right, so I scored the fight a draw because I thought that Sean won the majority of the rounds. So I scored the fight a draw. Or a slight split decision for Sean Porter, because when I think about it, I don't know if it'd be a draw. Right? So I gave Sean more of the earlier rounds. He got more of the earlier rounds. And Errol got more of the later rounds. So I had a 7-5 split decision for Sean Porter with the knockdown. 114-113, Sean Porter. But Errol did land some really good body punches on Sean Porter. But then he also landed some low blows. So, if you want to include that as really good body punches. Man, the man has skill, though. It's not just he has a great heart and a great chin. We can't shortchange his defense. His defense was very, very good. His footwork is very, very good. His offense is very, very good. He's not the cleanest puncher in the world, but Spence has a good. Well, of course, he has an excellent chin. Excellent chin. Because Sean landed some really good shots on him, especially to the head. His head shots were better than his body shots. They were cleaner. But again, Sean was doing some very effective body work. I love how Sean would spin Errol in the corner. She just turned the tables on him in the blink of an eye. And I told you guys, that's what Sean do. Yeah, man, I hear you. I fell asleep myself. I was tired after all the work I did yesterday. I still have to continue doing some work on this house here today. And then I'm going to go out and sell. And if you guys are donating to my channel, I'll be able to do some more work, man. I'm not saying you. You were one of my partners, so not you, but other people. Man, I really wanted to score the Kell Brook fight, man. I wanted to score the show important. I wanted to show you guys because Kell Brook won that fight 9-3, but it wasn't because Kell Brook actually did anything special. And notice, Errol Spence had to tie up Sean Porter. Did you realize that? Did you see that? He had to lock him up a couple times to contain him. Didn't I tell you he was going to hold? In the end, though, Spence got Porter. He dropped Porter. Technically speaking, I mean, it's kind of like the Mayweather Zab Judah. It's technical. It really, Porter got buckled. He didn't really get dropped, but because his hands touched the canvas, they called it a knockdown. He got buckled though, and his recoup time is fucking ridiculous. He recoups like that. Then he's like, "Let's go!" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" Basically, got buzzed. Porter's a tough motherfucker. I gotta give him that. He a tough motherfucker. But other than being tough, he also got good defense. He slips the jab. Like I said before, a lot of people don't really understand how skilled Porter is. The problem with Porter, and he's getting better at it now, is just how clean his punches are in the final work. He throw a lot of punches, but they're not all clean. And that's why I understand. This fight could have gone either way. Big Brother in Life. Shout out to Big Brother in Life. Porter came to win that fight. Yeah, of course. He always comes to win. But he's got close fights with people. That's why people need to run them fights back with Porter. And if they stay in the welterweight division, if Errol Spence stays in the welterweight division, I don't know if Porter's going to stay in the welterweight division for so much longer. I don't know how many more fights Porter will have. Because he's had a high octane career, so he's not going to stay till he's 40 in boxing. I can tell you that right now. Because at the rate and the punishment he has taken, he and his father will have to pull out of boxing pretty quickly. I mean, not his father, but him. He'll have to pull out of the sport relatively early in his career. Okay? Well, he's taking a lot of punishment. And he don't want to walk through the rest of his life like, like Mildred Taylor or like... he has one of the best resumes in the sport. At welterweight, he is the guy with the top resume. Porter has the top resume in welterweight right now. He faced Kell Brook, who became the #1 welterweight in the world. He faced Errol Spence, who is currently the #1 welterweight in the world. He faced Keith Thurman when Keith Thurman was the #1 welterweight in the world. He has faced 3 #1 welterweights in the world. Nobody else in the welterweight division has that, and has had close fights with 2 of them. And good Kell Brook fight was a learning experience for him. He was the IBF world champion. The IBF belt that Errol had, Sean had. Sean was coming back to take back his IBF belt, pretty much. So Sean Porter has done some remarkable things in the sport of boxing already. And in a rematch, you would think it would be an easier fight for Errol or for Keith Thurman or for Kell Brook. It'll be harder. Because Sean is a boxer. Right? He's a boxer. So, but Sean Porter needs to work on, you see that left hook? Getting hit with that left hook. He's gotten hit in 2 fights now by that left hook. And he got buzzed 2 times in fights with that left hook. You got to keep that guard up when he's going to throw his hooks. He lapses in fights. At least once or twice in fights he does that. So he's got to keep his defense on point. And his father actually told him when he came back to the corner, you need to keep your defense on point, man. Keep your guard up. But he's a significantly better fighter. This is probably his best fight I've seen. He's really putting everything together. Yeah, he has, and the 300 amateur fights you're talking about are against some of the best fighters in the world. Usyk right now is a pound-for-pound fighter, right? Danny Jacobs, the #2 welterweight in the world. I mean, I'm just saying. Demetrius Andre is right now WBO champion. When you look at the kind of amateur, the caliber amateur competitors this man beat, he beat all these guys I'm talking about in the amateurs. So I mean, they're bigger guys than Errol Spence, bigger guys than Keith Thurman. So and in the pros, Sean Porter came in to the pros, and he was a 168 pounder, close to a 170. He was, I think, he came in 169. Was facing a 171. He was a light heavyweight when he came into the pros. Yeah. So that's why Sean Porter is able to take that kind of punishment. And just he has remarkable recoup times because he's a much bigger guy than Errol Spence is. And if you look in the ring physically, Sean was bigger than Errol Spence. Sean looked like he looked like a super middleweight. Errol Spence looked like a super welterweight. He's bigger than Errol Spence. All right. And Errol Spence acknowledged he's stronger than him. He acknowledged that Sean is stronger than him. So that's why I keep on telling people, Sean Porter is a hell of a fighter, man. It's not just his heart, it's his skill. You can't get that far. And you can't do to Errol Spence. He's the only fighter now in the history of boxing, in the history of Errol Spence's career, to ever land as much punches on Errol Spence as that. Doesn't that sound like somebody else we know? Marcus Maidana versus Floyd Mayweather. Marcus Maidana is the only guy to land that amount of punches on Floyd. Nobody else has landed as many punches on Floyd. Now, the Marcus Maidana Floyd Mayweather fight was a little bit wider, in my opinion, than the Errol Spence versus Sean Porter fight. But I mean, because again, Marcus got Floyd to fight his kind of fight, right? And Sean, people say Sean got Errol to fight his kind of fight. I don't want to say he got Errol to fight. Errol fights, he's an infighter, but I think that Sean dictated when and where that fight was supposed to take place. Big brother, his angles and how he was turning Spence was giving Errol problems. Errol had to make constant adjustments. Yep. In fact, Errol didn't expect Sean to come out and start boxing him in round 1 and round 2. Errol didn't expect that. And then he didn't expect in round 7 and 8. He thought Sean would come bringing it to him. And in round 7 and 8, he boxed him. So Errol was off put by certain things that Sean was doing. And everybody's saying, if Sean started to box Errol like he did Ugas, oh, he going to lose the fight. Okay, so we could say he lost this fight by split decision, but was it because he was boxing Errol? Wasn't he effective at landing the jab on Errol and from the outside? I'm just saying. He mixed it up. I think a lot of people was amazed at what Sean could do. It didn't shock me. My only thing is Sean would much more clearly win fights if he's a little bit more accurate in how he lands his punches. And that's really on Sean to tighten up and clean up a little bit more. How he lands punches on opponents, I think, is his only thing. It's the finishing touch of Sean Porter. He does everything else very, very well. Bobbing, weaving, even when he gets caught flush with certain punches, nobody really puts 2 shots together on Sean. It's always a one punch that really comes in flush on Sean. Kind of remind me of Roberto Duran in that respect. You ain't catching Roberto Duran with 2 shots in a row. Even though Thomas Hearns did, that's because Duran froze up and then he hit him, boom, boom, right? And that's what took him out. But that Duran was probably weight drained. I hate to take it from Hearns like that, but he wasn't moving like how Duran usually moved. But then again, Thomas Hearns kind of took it away from him so that he couldn't even get into his flow. Thomas Hearns really took it from him. That was at 154. But Errol, who I told you guys, he's more of a sharpshooter. If Errol will crash you, and he'll really start putting on punches on you if you sit still, and only if you sit still. Errol tries to find a way to you see, he tried to cut off the ring on Sean, and what happened? Couldn't cut off the ring on Sean. When Sean don't want you to cut off the ring on him, you're not cutting off the ring on him. But there was times Errol would trap Sean into the corner, walk him down, get him to the corner, and he would try to wail off on Sean, and then Sean would, he did catch Sean with some good shots in the corners. Don't get me wrong. Even though Sean was protecting his body, you could see Errol was just digging them shots. So even if you protect your body, I don't know if you guys understand, but if you put your guard to protect your body, and a guy still punches really hard, it's still the shot's going to hit your arms, yes, and your elbows, but then your elbows now will translate that punch into your body. So you'll be like elbowing yourself, kind of like. Now, to Errol's credit, he was a little bit dirty. He was hitting Sean on the hips too. He would go low enough and hit him on the hips. When he couldn't get his body, he started hitting him on the hip, which is a veteran crafty move. I've seen GGG and a lot of effective body punches. When they can't catch you up top, they can't catch you to the solar plexus, or they can't catch you to the spleen, or they can't catch you to the liver. They're going to go to the kidneys. Sometimes you get a kidney shot. Sometimes you get a hip shot, right? Sometimes you get a just above the cup shot. So that shit was going on as well. Errol's crafty with his shit. I'll give him that. He was a little bit dirty. But they were saying that Sean was holding down Errol's head, which is not true. Not when he was landing them punches. Right? But it was good. It was good stuff. It was good stuff. So don't take nothing away from Errol Spence. You can't take away this win from him. You can't take away the fact that Errol can do it all. He can go into the trenches. Obviously, he's an fighter, so that's what he do. I think he can go into the trenches. He went into the trenches with Sean. Errol was doing the better work on the inside than Sean was, but don't get it twisted. Sean was doing the busier work on the inside to Errol. And if you ask me who was more effective in this fight, I would say Sean Porter was more effective. Sean Porter was doing what Sean Porter wanted to do. Even though Errol was breaking him down some, especially in the middle rounds. And he got Sean to sort of stand in front of him to a certain degree where he caught him with the left hook. So a lot of that accumulation of body work was eventually starting to wear down Sean Porter. Even though Sean Porter was also wearing down Errol, and Errol was gassed a couple times, which is why he was clinching up on Sean. That's why Sean was having his way with him sometimes on the ropes. All right, he was having his way with Errol sometimes on the ropes. And Errol was saying that some of his strategy was to, rest a bit, let Sean wait, blow his load, and then come back. The thing with that was, that was part of your game plan, but there were certain times when your load was blown and you were tired. You was fucking tired. I saw you go to the corner and you was tired. And it's just what it was. But what I like about Errol is he keeps his composure, takes his time. That's what you got to do in these fights. So you keep a level head, a clear head. And I thought that's what helped him to ride through those storms. And it was just beautiful to watch. It was beautiful to watch. And, my thing to Errol is you're not going to get the KO like that anymore. Keith Thurman hasn't gotten any KOs. At least you got to drop Sean Porter, which was great. At least you scored as a knockdown. And that's great. I mean, Keith Thurman bottled Sean Porter, and you actually did one better. You was able to make him touch the canvas. But Sean definitely made Errol uncomfortable. If I was Errol, I wouldn't run it back immediately with Sean. Because Sean's got a lot more stuff to show us. Sean can do a lot more than what you just saw in that fight. And he's just trouble for anybody. So I wouldn't run it back immediately, but yeah, I'll definitely run it back with Sean Porter. Big brother in life. But Sean Porter's only going to be better. He's only going to get better for this. Big brother in life. Errol needs his old conditioning trainer, Blue Ray, back. It don't matter what conditioning trainer Errol has. That has nothing to do with Sean's conditioning. You get what I'm saying? So that you got to understand, Errol wasn't the only one giving pressure in this fight. Sean was bringing a lot of heat to Errol. There's a lot of pressure. You know, Errol was getting tagged with shots. Errol don't even know where he was getting hit, how he was getting hit up the side of the head. He said Sean comes from different angles and be throwing punches at you from some strange, weird ass angles he never seen before. Sound like Manny Pacquiao, right? See what I'm saying? I say Errol's not necessarily ready for Manny Pacquiao like that. And Pacquiao throws with heat. He throws with real power. And Pacquiao's a lot more accurate than Sean is. The only thing is, whereas Sean can fight at varied ranges, Pacquiao's a lot more limited. Pacquiao he got to be in mid-range to beat your ass. But he can get there. Because like Errol, he can slip punches, especially jabs. He lives off of countering jabs. Right? So that's why I said Errol will have difficulty with Pacquiao, and Pacquiao could possibly pull off the win if the fight is close enough. But when it comes to Terrence Crawford, I think Errol beats Terrence Crawford all day, every day. Terrence hasn't been tested. Errol is battle tested and proven now. I don't care how much skill Terrence Crawford got. Errol will beat him. And the only guy that gets a nod over Errol in the welterweight division is Pacquiao, and only because Pacquiao's so popular. If the fight is close, and I see down the stretch, Errol really taxing Pacquiao's ass. He's not getting a clean beat on him like he's getting the other opponents. You know, you go into the body. Pacquiao is a tricky way of just riding them punches. But, I mean, as Pacquiao starts to tire in the middle rounds, he don't get tagged up by Errol. But Errol don't hit as hard as Keith, so I don't see him getting Pacquiao out of there. Errol don't hit as hard as Keith Thurman. He might have to use some craft on Pacquiao. He might have hit Pacquiao in the balls a couple times. And he's an inside fighter, so I mean, but he's just too fucking clean. You got to be kind of. You see how he fought a little dirty there with Sean? You got to have to do that and some with Pacquiao. Pacquiao, you got to slow him down somehow. Jeff Horn, awkward as fuck. Style that neutralized Pacquiao. Errol had to look at that. He got to body Pacquiao with his shoulder, you know, use his size on him on the inside, rough him up a little bit before he turn him around and then start wailing punches on him. You got to rough up Pacquiao. You got to rough him up, physically rough him up. Sean Porter will do that. Errol will not. Errol's too clean. You're too clean to punch it. And even when we fighting Sean, we're still fighting him a little too clean. With Pacquiao, you can't afford to. You have to rough his ass up. Errol fight a little too clean. That's why I said, you know, Pacquiao beats Errol. You gotta rough up Pacquiao. See how Floyd was roughing up Pacquiao? He'd clench him and he use his shoulder and he would rough him up. Physically turn him, and then he arm punch him into the side, but he really dig them arm punches into Pacquiao's side. Really dig it in. You rough up Pacquiao. Errol would be physically stronger than Pacquiao, so he could grip him up, turn him, push him against the ropes, push him around the ring, rough him up, bump him with the shoulder. You know, rough him up. You got to rough him up on the inside. When you get an opportunity, you lock him up on the inside, you rough him up. Sometimes you got to hit him with a shot. Sometimes you hit him with a punch, but you extend your punch and you make sure that the forearm on the elbow graze him as well. You got to hit him with everything. Like you hit him with a straight jab. Make sure you extend that jab further so that the forearm could slide across his head. You know, you got to rough up these guys. You got to do it. You got to do it. Sammy Sadler beat Willie Pep because he was roughing his ass up. You're not just going to outbox these dudes. You got to rough them up. But you got to do it in a crafty way. So that, you know, see how Sean Porter roughed up Errol Spence? He cut Errol Spence not because just a punch. He extended the punch. And his forearm and his elbow probably hit Errol Spence in the head. It wasn't from a headbutt. So it was from a, you know, Miguel Cotto did that shit to Zab Judah. He take his shin and ram it into Zab Judah's shin. Southpaw to the orthodox. So you do that. that kind of shit on the inside. Rough him up. That's how he beat up Zav Judah. Zav Judah was out boxing his ass. Had to get him out of his game plan. That's what you got to do with Pacquiao. Pacquiao a warrior. So you have to rough his ass up. That's the only way. Big brother in life, just bend the rules a little bit. You got to. Hey man, it's a fucking fight. And if this dude got better skills than you and better home skills than you, what he doing is extremely effective, you gotta find a way. You mustn't let the ref see it. You can't be obvious with the shit, but yeah, hit him a couple of low blows. Hit him to the balls. Rip it. He might hit you to the balls afterwards. It's a fight. If you change the Marcus Queensberry rules, he can't complain when the other guy starts bending it too. You know, Pacquiao, if he's going to hit Pacquiao to the balls, it's going to be hard to do because Pacquiao ball's kind of low, right? Pacquiao kind of short. You know, you might be going for the balls and you might hit him in the elbows instead. You know, that's the thing with Sean as well. Sean was getting so fucking low. That's what I'm trying to explain to people. Sean got so low, Errol couldn't hit him. He was getting below Errol's uppercuts and shit. Errol be hooking and uppercutting. Sean's way just disappeared. Sean went under it. You know what I'm saying? And Errol was changing levels, and he still could not keep Sean from coming inside. What do you think would happen with Pacquiao? Just think about what I'm saying. Pacquiao shorter than Sean. Like I said, Pacquiao, he's registered at 5'5", 5.5. That motherfucker look like he's 5'4". He's short. So them little guys, they can move faster than you. They can throw combinations faster than you because of their lower center of gravity. So like if a short little guy, think about it this way, right? A short little guy, if he were to jump off the ground versus a tall guy, we expect the tall guy to leap off the ground higher than the short guy, which means the taller guy going to stay in the air longer, which means the taller guy would move with longer strides, right? Now, a shorter guy, generally, if he takes a step, it's a short step. But his steps are faster than the taller guy. Now, when you match that foot speed with hand speed, it show you how fast Pacquiao could be. So when you hear Pacquiao going, he's like a machine gun because of that. He could throw a lot of punches real fast. So if you were in, and that's why Sean Porter had the edge on Errol Spence from that. Sean Porter could throw a billion combinations, you know, whereas Errol Spence would be after, you know, he can't throw with Porter. So that's what Porter had the edge on Errol Spence on the inside. So you would find that Sean Porter was actually the busier fighter in the fight, even though CompuBox stats didn't show that. He was a hell of a lot busier than Errol Spence was, right? And then he's a swarmer, so that's what he do. Whereas Manny Pacquiao is the same kind of guy, except his punch output might be lower than Sean Porter. But when he does throw his combinations, you're talking about 8 punch combinations, you're talking about 7 punch combinations, where Pacquiao would be moving around. Now, the thing about it is, Errol Spence also moves around, and he has beautiful pivot work. So that will nullify some of what Pacquiao wants to do to Errol, especially when Errol starts to roll certain punches out of the way. But earlier on, Errol had to get used to Pacquiao's speed. And that's the thing that throws off everybody. And then at least he got the experience with Sean. Sean is a counter combinational puncher. He's not just a counter puncher. He's a counter combinational puncher. You know, he'll light your ass up real fast. Errol realized that. Errol was trying to trap him on the ropes in round 1 or 2. I can't remember which one it was. And Errol just spun the tables on Sean. And Errol was the one landing a host of the punches on Sean. And that went on for most of the fight, right? And that's because Sean, he counter combinational punches you. Pacquiao's the same kind of dude to a lesser effect with a much more limited range. Pacquiao a lot more explosive, a lot more quicker, and he's a lot more, because he's so short, he's going to be a lot faster. And a lot more accurate. So that's where Errol will have that challenge. But he would have seen it already with Sean Porter. So that might give him some edge to handle Pacquiao. Do I think he could stop Pacquiao? No, he can't stop Pacquiao. He could edge it out though. He could get the decision on Pacquiao. There are very few Floyd Mayweathers out here, man. Very few Floyd Mayweathers out here. What you saw was a rare. Floyd Mayweather's a rare kind of dude. But Errol's got that footwork though. He got that footwork. That's why he got that win over Sean Porter, which was a hell of a challenge. And you got to give Errol all the props in the world. Terrence Crawford would not be able to handle that Sean Porter like that. Not at this stage in the game. Terrence needs a little bit more. I think he needs a little bit more tough tests. Test by fire. Because that Sean Porter that faced Errol Spence, easily could get Terrence an L. Easily. Terrence would come ready, though. But Terrence would get an L. And Terrence is very skilled, very gifted fighter. But you get an L. I'm not saying you guaranteed to get an L. But that's a lot to test. See, Terrence is not. A lot of people think Terrence is strong like Errol. He's not. Errol's stronger than him. I can tell you this for a fact. How do I know this? Terrence Crawford was backed up by Jose Benavidez for most of his fight with Jose Benavidez. You tell me, Jose Benavidez backs up Errol Spence? Does Jose Benavidez back up Sean Porter? Does Jose Benavidez make it out of the fight with Errol Spence or Sean Porter? No. They both knock out Jose Benavidez. You heard me right. Sean Porter knocks out Jose Benavidez. Because everybody knows Jose Benavidez is open all night to the overhand right. All fucking night. The defense is flawed. So, Jose Benavidez would get run over by Sean, Danny, Thurman, and Errol. He gets run over. Ain't no fucking way Jose Benavidez backing up any of those guys. All right? So, if Terrence is struggling with a guy who got a bad leg, by the way, because he got shot in the leg, he's struggling with that dude and getting backed up by that dude, he's not as strong as them other guys. Okay? He also beat Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn's big as fuck, don't get me wrong. But Jeff Horn, and he's an awkward dude. But you beat his ass. You beat him bad. But which of the welterweights I just mentioned wouldn't beat up Jeff Horn? Just walk right through him. Danny Garcia wouldn't walk right through him. He faced a better opponent than Adrian Granados, and he knocked his ass out. What do you think we would do to Jeff Horn? What do you think, really, seriously, what do you think he would do to Jeff Horn? All right. Terrence Crawford beat Amir Khan. Chinny Amir Khan. Dominated his ass. Outboxed his ass. But then again, which of the welterweights in the welterweight division that are top tier would not do that to Amir Khan? If they wouldn't Amir Khan face them? We already saw what Danny Garcia did to Amir Khan at super lightweight. So that's proven. Danny Garcia knocked his ass out in a shorter time than Terrence Crawford. Right? So, I mean, Danny Garcia right now, his name is popping up for Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao, and Terrence Crawford. He's a good fight for all of them. His style. But I think Errol beats Danny Garcia. Big brother in life. Porter was looking like Aaron Pryor sometimes. See, there you go. I think of that since I think Ohio's Aaron Pryor is the closest thing to what Sean Porter is doing. Not Mike Tyson, not Joe Frazier. You know, Gennady Golovkin's former trainer was saying, he's thinking like Joe Frazier. I don't really see that. I see Aaron Pryor. Aaron Pryor. Aaron Pryor was smaller than Sean, but yeah, that's that. I agree. Who is Big Brother in life, man? Shout out to you. I don't know who this is, but I think that though. I think that the best analogy for Errol Spence, because I'm talking about Errol Spence's now competence and skill. I think that uh, the best statement to show how good Errol Spence is the fact that Errol Spence, under that kind of pressure, was able to stun Porter so much that he actually had to rest his hand on the canvas for a second. He touched down to catch his balance. He touched down and his one glove touched the canvas. I think that's credit to how much Errol Spence dogged it out. You know, he's not just a skill fighter, not just a fighter with home skills, not just a fighter that can fight on the outside and stuff, but Africans watch boxing. Porter roughed Errol up in spots, but when you judge with defense, clean punching. Hold on. When you judge with defense, clean punches, and was able to fight Porter's fight more effectively. I wouldn't say he fought Porter's fight more effectively. I would say he landed the cleaner punches. I thought Porter was the more effective fighter throughout the fight. That's why I say it's a pick'em fight. Porter did what Porter wanted to do. Finished how Porter wanted to finish the fight. It was more of a to and fro, ebb and flow. I thought Porter landed the better headshots in the fight. I thought Spence did the cleaner body work. There was certain shots that Spence ripped really well, but then again, because he's straight so low with the earlier shots, I can't give him credit for breaking Porter down completely. But he did break down Porter some. Body work always break down a fighter. But I thought that Porter pretty much to the body. I mean, Errol's punches pretty much to the body didn't stop Porter from doing what Porter wanted to do. And Porter himself landed some really good body shots as well. He landed some. He answered Errol Spence with some pretty good body shots. But he did. I thought the head shots that Porter did especially were really good. He rocked Errol back a couple times. Errol had to clinch him. And what Kenny was saying is, if Errol rock you with anything, you clinch him. KP from KC, you were right about no KO. That knockdown punch was great. Yeah, but it was a fantastic punch, man. It was a fantastic punch. But really and truly, you know, that reminded me of the Keith Thurman punch, the time when he stunned Porter as well. You know, and Porter's still open for that punch. Fight after fight after fight. Roller Polar Bear says, Spence hit Porter so hard his daddy felt it. But did you see how fast Porter recouped from that shot? Porter was like, let's go, Ninja, let's go. I think he woke Porter up. That's what he did, because in the 12th round, Porter took it to him. And at the end of the 11th, you sticking it to him. So I don't think that was a good thing. Like I said, if you hurt Porter, he comes back even harder. like all you do is excite Porter. There's some people. There's some people, man. You hit them and you hurt them. They're like wild animals. Like they wake up and they go even worse. You're right. He one tough ninja. Yes, he is. Porter's a bad motherfucker, man. But having said all of that, Errol Spencer's a one fucking hell of a great fighter, man. He's a great fighter, you know. And I think he not getting his just due, but he's a fucking, I mean, phenomenal, smart fighter too. I hear what Africans, where are you, man? I just saw you a minute ago. African watch boxing. I hear what you're saying about, Errol having his defense on point. Because Errol did have his defense on point, but he still got tagged with shots. Yeah, but he had good defense on point, And you can't just be there riding punches and shit, and you ain't throwing nothing. And there was times when Errol wasn't throwing anything, if you notice. Now, Errol was saying that he was letting Sean blow his load, but how long you gonna let this man blow his load? For 3-4 rounds? You gonna lose 3-4 rounds waiting for the man to blow his load? You know what I'm saying? Because Sean just keep on fucking coming, man. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't totally buy what Errol was saying, but I do understand what he was saying. Yeah, but Sean is not the same kind of dude. You're not gonna blow Sean's load just by letting him punch himself out. It's not gonna work. He's too well conditioned for that shit. What you have to do is you have to land something on him and wear him down. And so what Harold chose to do was land some punches to Sean Porter's nuts. That definitely not take the wind out of him. I'm just joking. No, he landed some really good liver shots. Errol, even though Sean blocks a lot of them, he landed some really good liver shots on Sean. And man, you would swear to God, if it was anybody else, they crumble and fall. No, Sean Porter, bro. And that's what I kept on telling you guys. I say, when Errol landed picture perfect motherfucking shot on Sean, and he still keeps on coming, or like he did when he dropped him, he said, well, he didn't really drop him, buckle him. But we'll call it drop him. He gets up and says, let's go. How does that make you feel, man? And Errol, he acknowledged that this motherfucker is bad, right? He said, this is a bad motherfucker, But he knew this. Errol knew that Sean was that kind of dude. And what did Errol do? When Sean Porter said, let's go, Errol's like, okay, motherfucker. He started landing some more punches. He started landing more punches to Sean. He's like, okay, let's go then. I loved it, man. I loved it. It was a hell of a fight. I was only hearing them saying, oh, the commentary team was like, oh. When you hear a commentary team, they ain't even got time to process who's landing what. They just like, oh. Before they can say anything else, they just owing down the place. That is some crazy ass shit that's going on. Woo! Nobody cares about Garcia matchup. T-Bot got Spence's number. And Pac-Man. Oh, fuck no. Terrence Crawford ain't got nobody's number. Nobody's number. Until I see Terrence Crawford face one of them guys, he ain't got nobody's number. He just on the outside there steering in. He's not been tested. What has Terrence Crawford done? He beat Mr. I Get Slept Can, right? He faced an injured Jose Benavidez. Couldn't stop the dude until the 11th round. All right? A guy that All them other welterweights would have washed out in the first round. No, not in the first round, but like by within 7 rounds, they would have washed him out, right? Um, Khan would have got put to sleep. Well, he was put to sleep in the fourth round by Danny Garcia. He was slept by Danny Garcia, right? And Danny Garcia ain't one of the top guys. Errol would have destroyed Khan. All right, he would have destroyed him. Okay, destroyed Khan. Right? Khan ain't one. Khan's like 9 feet away from Errol Spence Jr. Stayed the fuck away from Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman and Khan was sitting down on a commentary team. I can't remember for what fight. They were right next to each other. Keith Thurman expressed how he wanted to face Amir Khan. Amir Khan said nothing. Amir Khan didn't even try to address Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman was right next to Amir Khan. Khan ain't want nothing to do with none of them top tier welterweights. He gonna pick Terrence Crawford to get slept. You get what I'm saying? All right. And this is Khan after he got slept by Canelo. Okay? Slept by Canelo. All right? I mean, who has he faced? Jeff Warren would be a pinata for every single other top tier welterweight. But he gonna beat Errol Spence Jr. Come on, man. Come on, man. There's levels to this shit. Okay? There's levels to this shit. Errol he won't dust him. All right? It'll be competitive for a while. Errol will knock, he probably wouldn't knock him out either. But Errol will beat his ass up. Beat his ass up. Beat his ass. Watch me. Terrence will get beat up. Bud would get beat up and beat up bad by Errol. Bad. He'd take a bad beating. See what he did to Victor Postol? Errol will do that to him. But he top tier. He know how to survive. All right? And he might get it worse than Mikey because Mikey trades off, but Mikey's smart. Mikey knows how to shell up and use his defense. He get beat bad. 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 Errol will beat him up bad. Errol will beat him up bad. Because there's nothing he could do. What are you going to bring to Errol that Errol ain't seen? Errol's a southpaw. He goes southpaw. That's not a problem for Errol. Errol would beat him up bad. Bad. He ain't going to knock him out. But he would beat him up bad. Sean could take the beatings. Sean's a big motherfucking welterweight. Not Errol. I told y'all a good matchup for Errol is Kell Brook or Danny Garcia. He needs something like that. He needs a fight like that. He can't step into the ring against Errol. What, you gonna step in the ring against Errol and you ain't even face a Danny Garcia? Something to prepare you for that shit? He would get beat up bad. And I ain't trying to clown him. I just think about how Terrence fights. Because he's not controlling Errol from the outside. He don't have what Sean Porter could do. He can't bob and weave. He can't slip and slide. Terrence can't do that shit. And you ain't learning that tomorrow or next week or next year. That's things that take years to perfect. Years, motherfucker. And Terrence is not really, he got some inside game, but he's not really an inside fighter. He got some inside game though. Polar Bear. Joey Spencer landed a liver shot. Nice, nice. Big brother, it felt like 90s last night watching that fight. Plus, the co-feature bout was good as well. Yeah, man, I heard Darrell got knocked the fuck out by Benavidez. I haven't seen it yet. Africans watch, but it's impossible to have a clean fight with Porter. That style is just rough, but very unpredictable. Yes, it's unpredictable. One of the things African watch boxing I want to say is Sean got so much fucking skill. Don't mix it up with home skill, okay? But he can do so many different things. That's what I'm trying to say. That he can do any of those things at any given time. Sean has enough to show you several different looks throughout a fight. If he's effective with a certain look, he's just going to stick with it. But Sean could do a lot of things. And that's what people don't understand. To me, this fight shows how good Spence is. Yes, oh fuck yes. I agree with you. Most welterweights won't fight the way Spence did. He's got such fucking great composure. Under pressure, he got good composure. That's the difference. Send me a link, bro. A link to what? A link to what? Garcia now wants to call out Spence. He's losing to Spence though. Most definitely he'll lose to Spence. But my point is, Spence is not knocking him out either. Danny got Baird, and he does protect his body quite well. But don't be surprised if Danny starts walking down Spence at a certain point in the fight, which he will do. I guarantee you that. Rolo Polar Bear says T-Bud KO'd heavyweight Gamboa. No comment. I'm gonna say this. T-Bud has been looking good against competition to make him look good. All right. Next, he'll be facing some dude named Gavaliuskas, who I don't give a fuck about. Right? He gonna look good there too, because the guy is not A level. Right? What is T-Bud going to do when he hits Sean Porter with supposedly his great KO punching stuff? He in with his best punch, and Sean keep on walking through that shit and coming at him. What are you going to do? Right? And Sean is an inside fighter. That's what he do. What T-Bud going to do? Sean can switch hit too, as you saw. He can go southpaw if he wants to. So my point being, T-Bud gonna have all the hell in the world. They might give him the decision at the end of the fight, but he would catch his ass with Sean Porter too. There's nobody that Sean Porter does not give a tough fight to. Nobody. Then T-Bud facing Keith Thurman. As much as everybody know, Keith Thurman don't always protect his body well, does get hit with body shots, and it does have an effect on him. Keith Thurman hit like a mule. What's T-Bud going to do? Because Keith Thurman will hit him to the body and to the head. T-Bud, that be some of the punches that he be. I mean, he'll prepare for it. Don't get me wrong. He'll get prepared for it. I expect T-Bud to get prepared for that shit. That's the way T-Bud is. But I'm just saying, when you look at the welterweights who are at the top of the welterweight division, we're talking about Pacquiao, we're talking about Crawford, we're talking Pacquiao, Thurman, Garcia, Spence, Brook. Right? I mentioned Brook. Notice I mentioned Brook. He might have eye problems. Not just say that Terrence Crawford will beat these guys if you haven't seen him in the ring with any of them. You can't say that. Bob Arum will like you to believe that and think that the fight is Errol Spence fight. Because Bob Arum is the one that started that shit. But y'all must stop being fucking sheep. And okay, Errol was just supposed to just blow through. Errol said this is going to be an easier fight than Mikey Garcia. Right? Y'all believed Errol? What did it end up being? The toughest fight of Errol Spence's career so far. Errol acknowledges it now. And my point is this. You cannot listen to everything. You have to evaluate things. So Bob Arum says, oh, them welterweights, it's going to be easy. Errol, yeah, he can just blow through Sean Porter, and the fight's really Terrence Crawford. That's him promoting. You think Terrence Crawford could do a better job than Errol on Sean Porter? No, he can't. So my point being that you cannot look at this fight and not acknowledge that Errol Spence is the top fucking welterweight in the division. In fact, there was a survey poll done by BT Sports asking who is the best welterweight in the welterweight division. You had Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford, and Errol Spence. Now, 18% of the people pick Errol Spence. I pick Errol Spence. 18% after this fight picked Errol Spence. That's to tell you how much people are casuals in boxing. They don't understand what they're looking at. Because he had trouble with Sean Porter. Oh, he's not as good. He's not better than Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford. Notice they asked who's the best welterweight. They didn't ask who's the greatest welterweight. They didn't ask who's the face of boxing. They didn't ask who is the number one welterweight. They didn't ask that kind of shit. Okay. When it comes to boxing, Errol Spence is the best welterweight in the welterweight division. When it comes to boxing, hands down. He showed it in the Sean Porter fight. He made it a decider in which he dropped Sean Porter. Even though I said I gave Porter a split decision win over Errol Spence, that's me. That's me. If you are a judge watching a fight and you can't decide which fighter is winning the fight, right? And then one drops the other because it's that close, I could understand how you give that fighter the win. I could even see the unanimous decision win 114-113 Errol Spence. I could see that because he dropped him. Whether you think that was a drop or not is irrelevant. He made his hand touch the canvas. He hurt him enough. That was a very effective punch. That's what it's basically saying. And that didn't just happen overnight. It started from round one when he was hitting him with the low blows. It graduated to body punches and getting that straight left in. All right. And it built over time so that he was able to wear down Sean Porter. Whether it was just bodying him and pushing him to the ropes, leaning on him, pressing him down, all of that adds up in the end. And then Sean being a high throughput kind of dude. All of those things add up in the end. You make him, like Errol said, make him blow his load, make him work himself out. All of that adds up in the end. Right? And that's what gave him the little knockdown. So, no matter what you think, Errol is the best welterweight in the division. And it's proven because he got 2 belts. He's got the IBF belt and he got the WBC. These are facts. He has to be seen as the number 1 welterweight in the division. He has to be seen as the best welterweight right now. Has to. These are just facts. On the record, he beat Sean Porter, the WBC champion, to get the WBC strap. He is the best welterweight in the division. Not Manny Pacquiao, not Terrence Crawford, not Keith Thurman, not Danny Garcia, not Sean Porter. He's the man now. So, that's the rise of Errol Spence. And I expect him to continue to win fights and to be that dude. Unless he has a close decision with Manny Pacquiao, in which case Pacquiao will become that dude. So, I mean, if I was him, I'd take the Pacquiao fight. If Pacquiao would want that fight. But I think it's going to be, the next fight may not be the Pacquiao fight. It might be the Terrence Crawford fight. And y'all going to see. Sean Porter was baptism by fire. Terrence Crawford is going to be easier work. Going to be easier work. Terrence Crawford is more skilled than, with honed skills. He's more honed skilled than Sean Porter. Sean Porter is more skilled than Terrence Crawford. He got more things he can do. But with home skills, I think Terrence Crawford, I think he's smart. I think he executes better. I think he executes on the fly, but so does Errol. The thing with it is, though, Errol gonna be able to do certain things that Terrence is just not as good as. Yeah. Man, but if Errol can get that Terrence Crawford fight, he could put all this problems to rest. Because Terrence ain't facing nobody. Nobody that Errol has faced. Errol has been baptized by one of the best welterweights to make you baptized by. So if he got by Sean Porter, he gonna definitely beat Errol. He's gonna definitely beat Terrence. Different style altogether. Terrence is a smart thinking fighter. He does also make adjustments, but he gonna be so far behind, and Errol gonna be working that body, boy, I mean, Terrence gonna try and protect that body, but it's a totally different story dealing with Errol. You see, Sean is a lot more well conditioned than Terrence is. And Terrence is well conditioned, but no, he's just too small. He's too fucking small. I keep on saying that. Listen, if y'all said that Spence was just doing he was just doing a workout routine on Mikey, I mean, you telling me Terrence is bigger than Mikey? Is Terrence bigger than Mikey? Okay then. And if y'all are saying that Errol gonna beat Danny Garcia, who's stronger than Terrence Crawford, he's strong as fuck. Mikey is stronger than Terrence Crawford. I can tell you that for a fact. Terrence might be more skilled than Mikey, but Mikey's stronger than Terrence. You're telling me. And Terrence loves to trade. I don't know why. He could box or outbox and fight. He ain't gonna outbox Terrence Crawford. I'm Errol Spence. He's not gonna do that. You see, skill set wise, I'm talking skill set wise. I don't think you guys understand. What Sean could do and what Terrence can do. You gotta understand what Terrence can do to understand what will happen. You gotta understand what Sean could do to understand what will happen. You gotta understand what Errol could do and so on, right? Anyways, so I don't see Terrence at this stage in the game. I don't see him fucking with Errol. Unanimous decision win for Errol Spence. Too strong for Terrence. I told you Sean's stronger than Errol. That's why Sean could do what he do. Terrence is not stronger than Errol. Danny, I don't think Danny's stronger than Errol either. Danny's a smaller guy than Errol in that respect. Powerful? He's more powerful than Errol. He hit like a fucking truck. If Danny connect Errol right, Danny put Errol to sleep. Danny can hit. Terrence versus Porter would be legit. I don't think Terrence won that kind of smoke for his introduction to the real elite welterweights in the division. I don't think Terrence would pick that fight. But if Terrence wanted, he can get it. He and Porter are friends. Terrence need to fight Mikey first. Mikey Garcia, that's a winnable fight for Terrence. That's a winnable fight. But it's tricky because Mikey's a counterpuncher. Porter was a heavyweight in football. Fuck yeah. 200 plus pounds. What range is T-Bud best? T-Bud? Mostly on the outside. T-Bud's more of an outboxer. But he can infight. I saw it against Ricky Burns. He's pretty good at infighting. Spence's secret is jerk chicken and ganja. Spence versus Pac-Man next. That's a good fight. T-Bud needs to fight Mikey or Loma. He'll kill Loma. Y'all wanna see Loma get slayed. That's what y'all want to see. He'd kill Loma, man. That ain't no fair fight. What, a lightweight? I don't even know if T-Bud can make lightweight anymore. What is Spence's weakness? Weakness. He don't really got weaknesses, but defensively he's mostly on point. But the problem with Spence is he can get caught with rights and with lefts and hooks and shit because he stands in front of you too long. Spence sometimes stands in front of you too long. Because he want to go toe to toe. Spence wanted to push you back. If he boxed Porter, he wouldn't. Well, he'd still get caught because Porter covers ground rather quickly. But you see, you can't talk about Spence's weakness. You got to look at who's facing Spence and what they do well and what Spence does well. That's how you look at it. You can't just talk about his weakness, generally speaking. He does get tagged to the head very often because sometimes, as Derek James said, you standing too much upright. But even if he don't stand upright, Sean Porter's still going to catch him because Sean Porter's shorter than him. So it depends on who's facing who. Africans watching boxing. Link to your live. Not sure if you can. So much to say on this fight. One thing Spence did wrong was to fight Porter's fight throughout the fight. I know he trying to prove a point, but mix it up a little more. He wasn't trying to. That's the thing. Spence fights the same fight like Porter. Spence an inside fighter. So he's not really trying to fight Porter's fight. That's why the media be talking shit. Spence do his best work by going to the body. That's what Spence do. Guess what? Porter do his best work by going to the body too. So what I told you guys was Porter is no doubt Porter gonna get to the inside. The question is when he gets to the inside, guess what? Spence is good on the inside. That's what Spence do. So he gonna be meeting Spence on the inside, where Spence is good at that. That's what Spence is very good at. Spence won this fight because he can infight. You know, and Spence was never going to. I'm trying to explain to you, African who loves boxing. He was never going to keep Porter on the outside because Porter does bobbing and weaving and slipping and chucking and jiving and feinting and all this shit he do. So he can get past a jab. He can get past a lead left. He can get past a 1-2. Do you guys even understand what I'm saying? Like I try to say this over and over again. Maybe I need to demonstrate or something. The same thing with Canelo. Not to the extent that, not with the skill set and to the extent that Errol Spence has it, but he's sharper with it. He got more home skills at it. He trained and he's better at it. Canelo's also an inside fighter. He's a body puncher. You don't be an inside fighter and a body puncher if you can't get past a fucking jab. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you can't get past a 1-2, do you understand what I'm saying? So when I hear D Style saying, Kovalev going, what's Canelo going to do when Kovalev hit him with a right, his best shot, a power punch? I'm like, he just gonna ride the shit and keep on doing what he do. He got defense for that shit. You understand? So it's like, that's what people don't understand. You got to understand styles. Errol Spence is an infighter. That's what he do. When he was most effective on Mikey Garcia, where was he? He was most effective on the outside or on the inside? On the inside. He had to get to the inside and work Mikey Garcia's body. He wasn't landing a whole lot, but he was more active. Mikey Garcia wasn't doing shit. He was just defending himself. Every now and then he catch and shoot. So that's what Errol Spence do. He an inside fighter. He's a body puncher. Mike McCallum styling. James Toney styling. Understand? Marvin Hagler styling. Sean Porter's the same thing. He's an infighter. But the difference was Sean Porter picked when he wanted to infight with Errol Spence, and then he picked when he wanted to box him. Errol didn't have that luxury because Errol is not a guy who bubs and weaves and slips and slides like that. He slips punches, yes, but he don't do it to the extent that Sean Porter do it. Sean Porter do all kinds of shit. I can't even explain to you guys some of the shit he do. Sean Porter knows how to feint. I got to show you guys this. I'm going to demonstrate. Oh, man. So, let me demonstrate what I'm talking about, right? So, on the southpaw, I have to be orthodox for a change, okay? Sean Porter, for example, right? You throw a jab down this line. Sean Porter will do like this, right? He slip the jab, right? He gonna come at you with a spare jab. But Sean Porter's a guy, he slips the jab here, right? I'm in the orthodox stance, by the way. Jab goes by him, whoop, right? And he would crouch further into it. Just in case you throw a jab and you throw a right hand, right? So he slips the jab. So I'm here first, right? Sean Porter has different stances. This is the extended guard. This is the high guard. This is the shoulder roll stance. He like to do something like this sometimes. Virtual distance. So he's leaning in and he do like this. Sean Porter sometimes do like this. And he bounce. Sometimes he bounce on the spot. Sometimes he do like this. Okay? He do different things. Okay? Sometimes he do like this. Bop. Okay? So there's all these different things Sean Porter be doing. So he do like this. All right? Okay. So, having said all of that, he do all kinds of things, right? But you throw a jab, right? And he comes here. Now he'll crouch just in case there's a right hand coming by, right? So if you go to hit him a 1-2, right? He will slip the 1, and then he'll change levels for the 2. And then he comes with a leaping spear jab back at you. A leaping spear jab back at you. It's not an uppercut. Okay? Or he may snap back, let the jab come by, watch for the 1-2. He might either swivel or come low like here underneath the shot. And then guess what he's going to do? He's going to come with a shotgun jab. And he could double it up. Now you understand what I'm saying? Making any sense? I demonstrated it for you. Because I'm talking it, but I don't think a lot of you guys understand what I'm saying. Right? Roller polar bear. What style gives Errol trouble? Anybody who has quick feet and anybody who knows how to slip a jab, knows how to get around a jab is going to give Errol problems. Because Errol feeds off, he shoots off of a jab. He shoots off the jab or he shoots off of his lead left. Anybody who has quick feet, good pivot work, they don't give him problems. As they would give any fighter problems. So, actually, Errol had problems with Manny Pacquiao because of that. Pacquiao got quick feet because he's so short. And so, Errol had to be on his P's and Q's with Pacquiao. That's why I said Pacquiao give him problems. And probably even beat him. Not necessarily in literal, like literally he might not beat him, but he may make the fight so close that they give Pacquiao the decision. You understand what I'm saying? And of course, they would love Pacquiao to be undisputed. So, you know, if Errol collect all the belts for Pacquiao and then Pacquiao just come and take everything to make history, you know, because you could argue that Keith Thurman beat Pacquiao. It's kind of hard because Pacquiao dropped him and then he hit him with the body shot. But, I mean, you can argue that because Keith Thurman won more rounds. But it is what it is. Mike Alvarado's style gives Errol a lot of trouble. Big brother in life. Errol will have to be prepared for that left hook from Garcia. Yep, to the body especially, to the liver. But the angle's a little bit different with a southpaw. So he could kind of roll that shot. But yeah, Garcia hits hella harder. But he's slower than Sean Porter. He's not as quick as Sean Porter. Garcia's thing is timing. Like if Errol's throwing a whole set of body punches and Garcia counter punches his ass, he's going to stun him. And Garcia comes with a lot of pop and power and looping shots. But expect Errol to be like Lamont Peterson in the later rounds on Garcia. He be just busting up his ass. He'll be beating him like a little boy in the later rounds when he gets a beat on him. If Alvarado uses the shoulder roll and switches stances, Errol will look lost and confused. Mike Alvarado would outbox Spence before catching them with an overhand right. Africans watch boxing. I know they fight similar, but you got to let Porter chase you. Not pouncing forward. Porter does, but you know, like Spence leads him by moving. Let Porter chase, then counter. Nope, not as easy. If Porter is chasing you down, remember he got the quicker feet. He got the lower center of gravity, so he got the quicker feet. Porter didn't get tagged with Spence just in that fight because he was chasing Spence. It was because he left his guard down as he was trying to throw a hook. He was actually standing in front of Spence when he got dropped. When he was chasing Spence, Porter got that. Just like if Pacquiao's chasing you, you don't want Pacquiao chasing you. You don't want Porter chasing you, because Porter's going to actually do his better work when he's chasing you around the ring. Africans watch boxing. Mike Alvarado would get killed by Spence. He just joking. He's trolling. Mike Alvarado has the tools to beat Spence. We haven't seen Spence fight someone that uses the shoulder roll and switches stances to southpaw and orthodox yet. Hey, but you know Sean just did that, right, Mike Alvarado? Mike Alvarado also hits harder than Spence. He did drop Juan Manuel Marquez, so you may have a point right there. That's funny as fuck, though. You got more skills than Barry Robinson. Yes, sir. Mike Alvarado got more skills than Barry Robinson. Oh, my God. Big brother, I noticed the difference with Porter's game plan when Barry Hunter's in his corner. Yeah. Yeah, Barry Hunter will train you and make you very efficient at certain things. So his game has gotten cleaner. It's gotten cleaner, yeah. In fact, if you ask me, this was one of the cleaner fights that actually Porter's had a couple clean fights. Against Udanis Ugas, he had a clean fight. Danny Garcia was fighting clean. Yeah. Thurman fight kind of clean. You know, yeah, you're right. Barry Hunter's made a big difference in Porter's game. Mike Alvarado TBD. Barry Robinson learned from me. Woo, yeah. Yeah, Porter is a very, I can't tell you guys how much skill this kid has. He has a lot, but he hasn't refined the skills. So it's about working on each aspect and develop it. Because Porter can do a lot of things. He can do a lot of things. And this is why Kenny is able to devise game plans for fighters to make them uncomfortable, because Porter can do so many different things in that ring. The problem with Porter has always been his finishing touch. How he finishes what he does. And he's getting better and better at finishing. You know? Unfortunately for him, he was really in a neck and neck fight with Errol Spence. It's the knockdown that did him in. But you gotta give credit to Spence. Spence was able to get him to stand in front of him long enough to get that punch off. You know? So he had broken down Porter enough. This is, again, something Floyd do. Spence took it to the next level. But he broke down Porter enough. Even though Porter came back with a fucking vengeance after that. It was like... But he broke down Porter enough to be able to get him to freeze for a moment. To catch his wind, freeze a little bit in front of him to get that shot off. He was not able to do that after that. Porter woke up and was like, oh yeah, motherfucker, I'm gonna get you back. Big Brother in Life says, Kenny Porter deserves more respect than he often receives. I absolutely 100% agree with you. He has made a hell of a fighter out of Sean. A hell of a fighter out of Sean. Sean's going to go down in the Boxing Hall of Fame before all is said and done. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. No doubt about that. Sean may need to do this again in another weight class. But definitely going to go down in the Boxing Hall of Fame when all is said and done. He's fought them all at welterweight. He's almost fought them all. He just has to face Pacquiao, who, as I said before, if he ever faces Pacquiao, he's clear favorite. He's gonna beat Pacquiao. I'm very almost confident he will beat Pacquiao. His style is just not good for Pacquiao. Period. Terrence Crawford, I got his chances to beat Terrence Crawford as well. Terrence Crawford, a hell of a fighter again. But Porter's just too much for them guys. And the game plan that Kenny will come up with, yeah, Porter will be problems. I wouldn't be surprised if Porter wins. Like, I think that Porter actually beat Errol Spence. I have to go look at the fight again. But I think he took more rounds than Errol. They were swing rounds, though. So you could, it depends on what you're looking for and what you like. But there are rounds where Spence hardly landed anything. And Porter was way more busy than him. And therefore landed more punches than him on him. And not only that, but he got Errol Spence to do what he wanted him to do. You know, so That's why I think that Sean won that fight. Not by much, so that's why I said you can't really be complaining. I mean, 114, 113, 7 rounds to 5. I thought that Sean took 7 rounds. I really do. But I thought that Spence was in it, and then he knocked down Sean. So 114, 113, 7 rounds to 5. Sean. I mean, it could have gone the other way. It depends. I mean, some of the rounds were swing rounds. It depends on what you like. You could have said Sean did a lot of work. He was the busier guy, but he wasn't really landing that much. So it depends on how you look at it. I can't complain with the result. It could have even been a draw. Well, it would never be a draw with a knockdown. That never happens. But, I mean, it was a close fight. That's what I'm saying. It would never be a draw with a knockdown. If he had 2 knockdowns, it could be a draw. Especially if Sean knocked down Spence, but he didn't do that. And you could see he was going for the knockdown in the 12th. But you can't get it. There's nothing you can do. That's not easy to do. He hurt Spence bad in the 12th, right? But, it wasn't enough. Man, he caught him with some beautiful rights to the head. It was, you heard the guys. You saw what them guys did. It's good. It was a good fight, though. But I think Errol definitely eked it out with the knockdown. I think he pulled ahead right there. But he never really separated himself from Sean. Never really couldn't do it. Keith neither. The thing that made Keith win that fight was the moments when he really stunned Sean. He stunned him with a number of very good shots. Sean was stunned a lot more in his fight with Keith Thurman than he was with Errol Spence. Right? Errol Spence dropped him. Right? So, it is what it is. But then again, Adrian Broner dropped him, right? I think it was the same punch. It was a left hook. So, you see, Sean needs to keep his concentration for 12 rounds of a fight. He's done this now. He's lapsed in concentration with Keith Thurman, Adrian Broner, and with Errol Spence. At some point in the fight, his defense goes down, and he gets caught with these shots. And Sean, you need to work on that. You've got to be dialed in. And Kenny Porter's seen this now 3 times. You've got to be dialed in these fights. Otherwise, you're going to get dropped. Then you're going to lose the fights. You've got to keep that defense up for 12 rounds. Better yet, Kenny, you need to get this guy training to go 15 rounds with that defense up. Because that's what's costing him the fights. They're getting these highlight reel moments because Sean is lapsing in his concentration. Just for a brief moment, and that's all it takes for you to touch the canvas. Or get hurt. And make somebody's highlight reel. Maybe first ballot, he ducked no one at all and gives entertaining fights. In fact, he was one of the most ducked fighters in the welterweight division. Nobody wanted to face Sean Porter at first. Big brother in life, I agree with you. This fight reminds me of Leonard Hagler. I probably will be watching 20 times and change my answer often. Yeah. This is one of those. It's one of those fights. It's an all-time great fight. It's an all-time great fight. I think it's the fight of the year. And once again, the underdog proves. This year has been that year of fights, hasn't it? We've had some great fights this year. Great fights. Guys, we're dialing out of Wallins of the world, and they all surprise us with what they're bringing to the table. We got now so many guys. We got J-Rock. We got Tony Harrison. Right? We got the Sean Porters. Manny Pacquiao. Even though he was a favorite to win against Keith Thurman, I didn't have him. And Keith Thurman was, of course, the world champion, so it was an upset. We had so many. I'm not sure this was this year, but Gavordic versus Superman. Adonis Stevenson. I think that was last year, though. Adonis Stevenson, he got wrecked. He got comatose, didn't he? Literally got comatose. Man. You know what I mean? We had so many great fights, man. From the beginning of the year to now, we've only had great fights. Deontay Wilder's got to face Luis Ortiz, King Kong, and you just never know how that fight might go. Deontay Wilder is the favorite, but he better come correct because Ortiz is coming to get some. He coming for the get back, so we'll see how that works out. But when we're talking about boxing, man, that's the fantastic thing about this sport. You got to do your homework. There are times when an unproven fighter, you just never know what could happen with them. With Errol Spence, he showed us what he was. He showed us what he was, and so that's what I got, man. That's what I got for now. If you guys got any other things to say, I do think though, I have to go and watch the Darrell Benavidez. Sorry about the yawn. Darrell Benavidez fight. Oh, it's 9:00 in the day already. I gotta get stepping, folks, and I gotta wet the plants, and then I gotta go and work. But the Benavidez Darrell fight was also a good fight, man. And I just think that a lot of people in boxing, they underestimate the sport, or they underestimate certain fighters. And this is boxing. You gotta understand what the sport is all about. And again, somebody was talking to me about respecting the sport by respecting the fighters. I saw it somewhere. If you don't respect the fighters in the sport, because I know they was doing a promotion, so they was hyping it up. But even the post-fight conference was lit. Errol started getting into it with Sean about who's selling pay-per-views and shit. But that Sean keep on whispering rematch to Errol, because it was a close fight. Talking about a rematch. And I don't think that Errol's going to rematch Sean right now, because he's already faced him. I think he's going to go forward trying to get some of the other belts, face other, notable opponents. If I was Errol, I would try and unify again, whether it's Terrence Crawford or Manny Pacquiao. That's what he was looking at. Manny Pacquiao's president was there, so I wouldn't be surprised if Pacquiao takes Errol next. But I'm hoping that Pacquiao will be in the proper shape to take on Errol Spence, because he didn't look too good after the Keith Thurman fight, to be honest with you. And as much as Errol may not hit as hard as Keith Thurman, he does wear you down plenty. But he uses more boxing to break you down. Errol got some wonderful leverage he gets off of his shots. So, Pacquiao could be having some organ damage after this, after that fight. Errol's brutal with the body shots. And then on top of that, he does finish it off to the top. So, unless your name is Sean Porter, you can't be getting hit like that to the body and to the head. He's going to literally leave a mark on you. And Pacquiao's going to be 41 next year. So if he's up to it physically, he can go for it. But, that fight could easily not be a close fight. If Pacquiao, Errol's not, like I said before, Errol's not somebody, Sean Porter's special. Sean Porter's special. Errol's not somebody you just want to just like casually walk in there and say, I'm going to beat him. It just doesn't work like that. Right? And Errol shows you how tough he is as well. He can take a punch. So while I say that Pacquiao could beat him, and I'm thinking a very close decision win, because he gets out the blocks real fast. If he don't get out the blocks fast, for whatever reason, age or whatever, Errol will eat him for breakfast. Errol's that kind of fighter. All right, so if it turns out to be, a fight in which, Errol's just getting his way, oh my God. Pacquiao will remain standing probably. He won't probably not get knocked out, but boy, that beating will be bad. Errol can share our beatings. If that's what you want to see, he can beat your ass up. I can guarantee you that one. You know. But Sean could handle it because Sean is so well conditioned and so much of a bigger fighter than Errol. So, but Pacquiao, I don't know if he will be taking too kindly to that kind of damage and destruction. And even if he gets a split decision win, he's gonna get damaged. He's gonna get touched up by Errol. You know. So anyway, yeah, Bud needs to be tested. He needs to step up there. This fucking Gavaliaska shit that Bob Arum be trying to push there. You know what, man, Terrence, you need to talk with Bob, man. This Gavaliaska shit. Gavaliaska can go face somebody else. Go face somebody else, Gavaliaska. You know, get that Bob match up somebody else with Gavaliaska. But you know, if you can get the Kell Brook fight, if you can get the Danny Garcia fight, if you can get the Sergey Lipinets fight, let me tell you, that's a good fight for you. Sergey Lipinets. See, right now he got the regular WBA championship belt. Does he? I think he does. Or not. No. He lost that. Peterson dropped that belt. Right. So there's no regular WBA championship belt. He beat Peterson, who after he took a beating from Terrence from Errol Spence, right? So Lipinets is a good guy because he just beat Peterson. Lipinets is not necessarily A level. He has not proven that yet. Mikey was able to drop his ass, but he's a good ass fighter. I would suggest very strongly, especially with Joe Goosen training him, I would suggest very strongly that Terrence Crawford try to make a fight with Sergey Lipinets. Fuck Bob Arum. Fuck him. You know I say that a lot. Fucking Gavaliauskas. Fuck that. Sergey Lipinets. He's fought Lamont Peterson. He's got a stoppage on him. He's faced Mikey Garcia. Put up a competitive fight after his ass was dropped. That's the guy Terrence Crawford need to face. Make that fucking fight happen. That's a good fight. And it's a doable fight. And I don't see why PBC wouldn't allow that fighter there unless Sergey Lipinets don't want to face Terrence Crawford. That's another problem we may have. Then there's fucking Eugenio Ugas. The Eugenio Ugas is strong, you know, inside fighter, counter puncher. Him against Terrence Crawford would be a good fight because now Terrence Crawford gets to deal with a real fucking welterweight, solid, strong fucking welterweight. And Eugenio Ugas. He tried to fuck around the wrong way. Eugenio Ugas beat his ass. That's another good one. You know, but, you know, you need a real fucking test for Terrence Crawford at welterweight. He has not been tested at welterweight. You need a real good ass fucking test for this kid. It's not about looking good all the time. He's got to be tested. You cannot. Let me tell you right now. If he go in the ring with Errol Spence will beat his ass up. He'll beat his ass up. It will beat him he will beat him up. Little ass Terrence Crawford. I know he ain't little, but I mean he's not strong like them guys. All them fucking welterweights I just spoke about are physically strong. They strong. Ain't no fucking Jose Benavidez. That's your best welterweight you face, Jose Benavidez. And you be on the outside, boxing on the outside. You don't want to be touched by Jose and his power. The motherfucker got foot problems. That's your best. That's the best welterweight competition you face, Terrence. But then you want to come stepping up and talking shit. You're not ready for these guys. Danny fucking Garcia, man, will cut the fucking ring down on your ass. Be landing them body shots and headshots. Did you see what he did to Adrian Granados? I know you ain't Adrian Granados. But Danny can handle your ass. And Danny is not the best of them. But you want to just jump the gun and face Errol, who just got tested by Sean, who is a fucking super middleweight in a welterweight's body. You want to really deal with it, Errol? Talking about Errol, man, motherfucker, step aside. Shut the fuck up. You just entered the division. Them will kick your ass. Them is big boys. You a little kid. Now you not filling out in the division. Oh, he got skills. I got Terrence over. Get the fuck out of here. Terrence got to be tested at welterweight to face these bad boys. He's got to be tested. Somebody bring a test for this kid. You ain't knocking them out like you knocking out them guys. You got to box your socks off. Them is mean motherfuckers, man. Don't worry what fucking Bob Arum be saying. Bob Arum don't know his head from his ass. Been too old. He retarded now. If he didn't have so much money, he'd be in a home right now, playing chess or something. So, you know, Terrence is now building up, getting stronger, filling out into the division. He's not ready for them guys. Sick fucking Errol Spence. Sick the truth on him. He want to just jump everybody and go to the truth. Huh? The truth, you will be found out. You gonna be a bud lying on the ground. You gonna truly be Terrence Bud Crawford. Man, sit your ass down. God damn it, man. Everybody be like, Terrence would beat, but I favor Terrence. Fuck out of here. He got to build up some strength. He got to get stronger. He ain't ready for them boys. Errol turn his little ass around and be pounding his ass on the ropes. Terrence have his guard up all the time, playing defense. Rough up his little ass. Y'all don't understand. Y'all don't really understand what I'm saying, or do you? Size matters in this case. And strength. Physical strength. I'm not saying Terrence is not strong, but they're making him look like he's something. He ain't faced nobody. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to help you guys understand what I'm saying. I know a lot of what I say go over your heads. But ain't faced nobody. He needs to be tested. In his career, he's faced people, but they ain't never been on the level of these welterweights. He beat up a little guy in Gamboa. Ricky Burns was never on the level of any of these welterweights we're talking about right now. Those are his two best fights. Postol was a strong dude. I give you that. But he didn't have the punching power of none of these welterweights we're talking about here. This is just a totally different class of fighters now he's dealing with. He's dealing with the real boys. And he got a nice, prestigious background. But he's never, those guys have never been on the level of these guys we're talking about. Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia was unified super lightweight champion, fighting killers. Period. Then jumped up into the welterweight division and been fighting killers. Danny Garcia is proven. Little Bud talking about Danny running away from him. Really? Bud, Danny right now could fight at super welterweight. Danny's stronger than Danny's ever been in his career. I'm talking strength. I'm not talking about power now. I'm talking about strength. If Danny physically gets in the ring with you, he will be the one controlling your ass in the ring. What I mean by physically controlling your ass. You're not going to be able to, you can't do to Danny what you doing to them other little punks. Physically. I'm not talking about punching or none of that. If you get in a clinch with Danny, you will realize how solid he is. He can move you around the ring. You ain't moving Danny around the ring, bud. I know you're getting stronger every day. You building strength and conditioning, but you ain't ready for Danny. Keith, just being a welterweight. That's what this motherfucker is. So if you think you're just going to land punches on Keith and Keith just going to buckle, you got another thing coming. Manny Pacquiao been at welterweight for much longer than you. Maybe triple your lifespan, your career. He been a welterweight since 2008, when you was just starting to box. I'm just saying. So Manny Pacquiao is used to that shit. That's why he could land a shot on Keith Thurman and have Keith Thurman buckling. Your little ass, I mean, you having buckling too if you could land it, but you be so busy with them. You be so busy with them shots that Keith Thurman be landing on your ass. You wouldn't have time for that. Keith's a real welterweight. Manny's been at welterweight since 2008, which is pretty much Keith Thurman's career. You understand what I'm saying? So when you think about what I'm saying, you put it in context, y'all making it sound like Terrence Crawford can just run through these guys. Fuck no. He ain't running through none of them. Not even Kell Brook. He ain't running through Kell Brook. Which is why they bucking to make that Kell Brook fight. Talking all kinds of shit about Kell Brook's washed up and all kinds of shit. Motherfucker, the only people who have beaten Kell Brook have been big fucking ass people. We talking about Gennady Golovkin, 160 pounder. And Errol Spence, who's a big fucking welterweight and has been a career fucking welterweight. Your little ass is now coming up in a welterweight. I called you a little ass because I was calling Danny a little ass too until Danny started building strength. And what I see from his last fight, I know Danny is now past welterweight in terms of strength. We all knew he was the hardest puncher at welterweight. But now, he's probably very, very strong. He's not stronger than Sean, but he's strong. He's strong. Probably stronger than Keith right now. And probably hits harder than Keith now. Okay? So, I'm not saying that you can't build strength and become strong too. I'm just saying, though, that you don't have to lose so much weight so you have more power on whatever else they're doing with you. But don't get it twisted, Terrence. You still little compared to them guys. All right? You still small compared to them guys. You know? That's why I said Danny's a good guy for you to face. Mikey Garcia, I could see you beating Mikey. Mikey's still a little guy. He's still growing into welterweight. But he done already face Errol Spence. What you going to bring to the table that Errol didn't bring to the table? He was able to handle Errol Spence's power. I mean, Errol Spence still beating him down. What I mean by that is a unanimous decision. Mikey couldn't do too much. But, I mean, you've not been tested like that. And Mikey moved up divisions and really started running through some people who was at least, like if you would have faced Adrian Broner, not that that's a good thing, but if you would have faced Adrian Broner and beat his ass, which you would probably do, everybody been beating Adrian Broner's ass because Adrian Broner don't really punch. He don't do nothing. But you would beat Adrian Broner, right? At least it gets you some kind of credibility. You know what I mean? But they got killers in this division, man. You gotta get ready for those guys. I know you're getting ready for those guys, but you be calling out people as if you could do something with Errol Spence. You can't do shit with Errol Spence, man. I know you calling it out to promote him, but you can't do nothing with him right now. You can't do nothing with him. Errol will kick your ass righteously. Then everybody would realize, oh, Terrence Crawford is the one that's overrated right now. Fuck yeah. And he on the pound for pound list. Is Errol on the pound for pound list? I think he's low down the pound for. Man, this is the bullshit about a pound for pound list. Pound for pound mean if Terrence and Errol are the same weight, which they are, Terrence would beat Errol's ass because he's high up the pound for pound list. That shit ain't happening. No way in fucking hell right now that happening. Errol would mop the floor with this motherfucker. He wouldn't knock him out. He got too good a defense for that. But it would be a one-sided fight. That's what I'm trying to say. It would be a one-sided fight. We saw what happened with Mikey. Mikey's about the same size as you. And about as untested. Maybe Mikey's a little bit more untested. But he's, you're not going to be able to handle Errol, boy. Not at this point in time. Pacquiao would because of his foot speed. But not you. You wouldn't be able to handle Errol. Errol will do whatever he wants. You'll be playing defense. Because when you stretch out your hand to do shit, Errol will just... He'd be digging to the body. You got your hands back home. And he ain't gonna play you trading with Errol either. Boy. Now Errol be able to bully your ass around. You're not strong enough to handle an Errol Spence. You gotta build up some more strength. J-Rock had to build up a lot of strength before he faced Jarrett Hurd. You know? You're gonna have to do strength and conditioning. Take supplements and shit like that. Something to really strengthen you. So you can handle an Errol Spence. It ain't happening no other way. Don't forget to smash the like button if you haven't smashed the like button. We at 2 hours and 30 minutes. Man, I've been talking. So that's what I'm trying to tell people. Errol Spence is the best welterweight out there. All right? Don't let this fight fool you. Shawn Porter's just that good. And people have been underrating Shawn Porter. Barbarian, all these assholes. Shawn Porter's very, very good. Got more skills than almost any welterweight in the division right now. All right? Shawn can do all kinds of things. I hope Shawn gets the respect that he deserves, man. And he is a king. He's one of the 4 kings. And the landscape in the welterweight division keeps on being fluid. That's how it's going to be. And don't get me wrong, Terrence Crawford's one of them. But he's not an Andre Ward. Andre Ward, it took him a while to become what he was. And y'all right now overhyping Terrence Crawford. He's one of them overhyped fighters. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. We know Terrence got skills. I've watched his skills. But there's certain things Terrence do, I'm not impressed by. He would get tagged. He got chin, but he gets tagged. Not very often, but he gets tagged. Against the competition he has, he gets tagged. That's the problem. Alright? By the way, congratulations to Errol Spence. Anybody saying the Errol Spence is not the best welterweight in the division, man, I don't know what to say. Man has 2 belts. So if he ain't the best welterweight in the division, what the fuck is he doing with 2 belts? You better collect 3 if you can. Either off of Manny Pacquiao or Terrence Crawford. I would love to see... Nah, I'm just joking. I don't necessarily want to see Errol Spence face Terrence Crawford next. But if that happens, strap season, baby. Go get the WBO belt. Because that belt's yours, for sure. If he faces Terrence. I'm not underestimating Terrence. Terrence might be able to do some strength and conditioning to get himself stronger. But you got to do a hell of a lot more than that to face the Errol Spence. And you know what's the misnomer? That Terrence Crawford is more skilled than Errol Spence. He's not more skilled than him. Terrence Crawford got more versatility than him. Does he? Well, not really. Now think about it. Errol's just sharper with everything. Errol's sharper with everything. So you gotta, how we can really truly assess Terrence is by giving him competition that really tests him. And then we can really truly assess him. See how Errol was tested by Shawn, and through that test, he passed it. It showed that Errol is the real deal. He is the truth. right? Um, so that shows he's real. He's real at the welterweight division. Terrence need that same test somewhere. Not even on that level. Just somebody that, okay, we see a durable fighter or we see a strong fighter face him, and we see how he handles that. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to talk about. I don't know why Terrence re-signed with Bob Arum. Maybe he had stuff he owed him or whatever. I don't know. Maybe he was afraid Bob Arum would talk bad about him. I don't know. But at the end of the day, Terrence Crawford did himself a disservice by not considering some other promotional company or maybe even the PBC. If the bulk of fighters are at the PBC, then you would need to head across to the PBC. Danny Jacobs realized the bulk of middleweights were at the zone, so he went across to the zone. Yeah? Almost all the middleweights are at the zone. The only middleweight that's not at the zone right now is Jamal Charlo. Maybe Jarrett Hurd will join him, so he could face Jarrett Hurd, but I mean, and I don't think it's hard to make a fight with any zone fighter because we've seen Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. They faced each other, so it wouldn't be that hard. And you can have Jamal Charlo versus Demetrius Andrade, Jamal Charlo versus Canelo, Jamal Charlo versus Jarrett Hurd, Jamal Charlo versus GGG. You can still have it. Just that I guess it'll be on the zone, not on Showtime. And it makes sense for it to be on the zone because the zone has all the middleweights. But similarly, Jamal Charlo is building and becoming better and better as a fighter with each fight he experiences. So they have a matchmaking pretty good. Yeah. Well, all right, guys. I see you guys think. I just need to take a little break. I got to go to work and stuff. Maybe I'll talk more boxing with you guys tonight. Maybe if there's a hangout out there, somebody wants to chop it up, I might be on a hangout. But, yeah, guys, I got to split like a banana. Peace. Don't forget you can subscribe to my channel and donate via Western Union or MoneyGram. Much love to you guys. I'm going to catch y'all guys later.